Hello, everybody, and welcome in to my latest live broadcast. Today is August the 3rd, 2021, and my name is Kerry Holzman. Thanks, you guys, for tuning back in. This will be a continuation, a follow-up from yesterday's live broadcast. If you didn't watch yesterday's live broadcast, I'll be sure and include a link in the video notes below for that. But essentially, here's the too long didn't read, here's the TLDR on this. Viewer Patrick Rousseau contacted me and said, I bought a motherboard. It's a GIGABYTE B365M DS3H Wi-Fi board from Newegg's eBay site. Many of you may not be aware, but Newegg sells a lot of stuff on eBay that you may not be able to find online. Closeout stuff, clearance stuff, super cheap. So he got the board and it's $50. And it's got built-in Wi-Fi. It takes Intel Generation 8 or Generation 9 CPUs. And when he went to install Windows 10 Professional, Windows 10, following all the steps I demonstrated in my videos, it skips right past asking you what version of Windows you want. It just installs it. And then when you look, you got Windows 10 Home. And he said, how do I install Windows 10 Pro? Well, there's a lot of ways around this, and I discussed all the ways around it. But I was kind of interested in, like, if this was a Dell or an HP, I would expect it to have an embedded product key. But not from a standard labeled GIGABYTE motherboard where there are BIOSes available from GIGABYTE that you can download. But none of those BIOSes will work, because not only did they add the embedded product key, but they added a system integrator ID, which means, and this is why the board is so cheap, don't come to us for help. You go to them for help. So we worked on this a bit. We figured out how to flash the BIOS. That's no problem. There's only one other BIOS. There's an F1 and an F2B. That's it. Probably got no advantage or benefit from installing F2B, but I showed you how to do it if you want to. Then my next task was to figure out how to remove that so Windows 10 would install like it does on any other homemade computer where you're buying motherboards that are for sale to the retail space. This particular board was never intended to be in the retail space. This is intended to go to a company like, I think ABS is like Newegg's partner in building machines. It's like can't remember, or iBuyPower, one of those, but it doesn't really specify that in the BIOS. And I was able, using the RW Everything tool, to actually, pull that product key up and see it in the BIOS. But rewriting the BIOS does not rewrite that product key area. And apparently there's a piece of software from American Megatrends, I think that's who makes the BIOS. It's about $7,000 that enables you to do that, or there's an OA tool that allows you to program into that spot. But I don't have access to that tool. I went digging around in the old hacking underground, but the old hacking underground has moved. I suspect it's probably on the dark web, and I suspect somebody's uploaded that tool somewhere. But then I decided, let's go ahead and let it install Windows 10 Home. Let's grab all the updates, and after it grabs all the updates and I restart on that first round, I check the activation, and it just automatically activated Windows 10 Home. So I said, that's not a bad thing. Windows 10 Home on Newegg sells for $100, or about twice the price of the motherboard. I also searched Newegg and Amazon for a B365 motherboard that has built-in Wi-Fi, and couldn't find any motherboard for under $100. Just didn't exist. Looking at ASRock, Asus, MSI, and even other GIGABYTE options, just doesn't exist for this price point. And those boards will not have a $100 Windows 10 Home product key. So why in the world would you want to remove that? It's like, my wallet's too fat. Let me take $100 out of it There, let me throw that on the ground so my wallet's thinner and more comfortable. It's a foolish idea because I have to assume if somebody's buying this board, it's probably because you don't have a lot of money. I'm making an assumption. And any further attempt I would make to experiment to try and remove that product key could prevent the board from booting. Now, I could maybe go on eBay and buy a new BIOS chip and unsolder it and resolder it. But I'm not even sure that the product key is on the BIOS chip. I suspect it probably is. But, you know, there's also a backup BIOS on here too, let's not forget. And now we're adding more expense, and if you don't do it right, you damage it, you're out of warranty. You're probably the person who can least afford to do that because you probably need the computer. Right? If you were buying a $700 motherboard and you want to mess with it, I suspect you have enough cash that if you want to mess around with it and break it, it's no big deal to you. So I'm going to make an assumption that the reason somebody's going to buy this motherboard is they want to build a system as cheaply as they can. And it's a good deal. It just surprised me because I've never seen a motherboard come from Gigabyte or ASRock or Asus or MSI that had an embedded product key unless it had like a different model number on the board. And then when you went to the motherboard manufacturer's website, they would say, this is a product we don't support. You have to go to the system integrator. Whenever a company offloads support to somebody else, they can sell the product for less because they don't have to support it. Now, how these are in the retail chain, I suspect is violating an agreement. I can't believe that Gigabyte would permit this if they were aware that Newegg was doing this. I suspect it's in violation of their contract or their terms of sale. However, even right now, these boards are available at newegg.com. And if you want to throw away your $100 Windows 10 Home key and get one of those Windows 10 Pro keys, then you have to create a little text file called pid.txt. I didn't get into this yesterday because it's all just very simple stuff, but you've got to put a key in there. And I can't show you that without potentially being accused of piracy. So what I will do is I'll find you a video and I'll add it to the video notes and you can watch how somebody else does it. But you're just going to add that file to your Windows 10 installation media. So you're still going to make your Windows 10 installation media the same way I show you. So you'll see a link to how to create your Windows 10 media to the video I made. You're going to create the pid.txt file with your product key or the generic product key that people are sharing online, which again, I won't get involved with, and you're going to save it. Then when you install this and you go to, or when you plug this in and you go to boot it, now you can install Windows 10 Pro out of the gate. I think it's an unnecessary step. Most people that run Windows 10 Home and most people that would be buying a board like this, it's not a very powerful board. I mean, it's good, don't get me wrong. But if you're an IT tech and you need, I don't know, virtualization or something, I can't imagine why anybody would be running Windows 10 Pro on this. Now, when I build systems, I always install Windows 10 Pro. That's because it's a $2 difference for me to install Windows 10 Pro. So I give it to my customers whether they need it or not. Because if they don't need it, financially it's negligible and they won't know the difference. And if they do need it, it's a support call later if I save the $2 and I spend an hour on the phone with a client or in emails back and forth trying to explain to a novice user this complicated procedure. It's not as cut and dry as you might think. So the bottom line is there's nothing wrong with Windows 10 Home. There's nothing wrong with it at all. Most home users would never know the difference between Windows 10 Home and Windows 10 Pro. People that, RDP into servers or people that want virtualization, there's other ways to do that, such as using ultraviewer.net, which is encrypted where RDP is not. It's automatic in the sense that you don't have to worry about static IP addresses or port forwarding on a router. This is all very technical, nerdy IT work. This is not that kind of a motherboard. And if you wanted it to be with Windows 10 Home, you wouldn't have to put Pro on it. You could accomplish these things with third-party software. There's plenty of virtualization software and free versions that you just slap on there and you can run your virtual machines. But probably you're not going to be happy with a virtual machine on a system like this because it's not that robust, and so everything's going to slow down. And by the time you put the money into this to make it fast enough, you could have bought a much nicer motherboard. So what I'm getting at is this may not be the right board if you're a tech person. But if you're just a hobbyist, an enthusiast, I wouldn't even say you're an enthusiast. You just because you drive a car doesn't make you a car enthusiast. So you want a computer that's going to be reliable and quiet, and you want to save a few bucks. This is a great value. Just know what you're getting. As long as you understand what you're getting, it's a steal. Basically, you're paying half price for Windows 10 Home, and you're getting the motherboard for free, and it has built-in Wi-Fi. The next step up from this, you're going to spend, somewhere around $100 for the board. If it doesn't have built-in Wi-Fi, you can add a USB Wi-Fi device or a USB, an add-in Wi-Fi card to any motherboard. I've had customers say, my laptop Wi-Fi is not working anymore. How much will that cost to fix? I could go online, buy a $12 USB Wi-Fi adapter, plug it in, your problem's solved. My laptop keyboard doesn't work, or the key stick. What's that going to cost to fix? Just buy a USB keyboard and plug it in, you're fixed. Especially when they're older laptops and the repairs are going to be more than the laptop is worth, and the parts may be very difficult to find, and when you do find them, supply and demand, parts are going to be too much money in most cases. So is it good? Is this motherboard good or is it bad? It depends what you're looking for. I don't think you can find a board with built-in Wi-Fi for 50 bucks. I don't think it exists. That's going to accept a Generation 8 or Generation 9 Intel CPU. This has no peer. This has no competition. The fact that it's got a built-in Windows 10 Home product key is bonus, and it activates. It's great, no problem. On the other hand, you could buy an off-lease Dell Optiplex like I've been talking about for how long? Those are about $180 right now. They fluctuate about 20 bucks. I've seen them down to 150. I see them go up to 200. But right around 180, and you're going to get a Core i5, not an 8th or 9th gen, maybe a 6th or 7th gen, but regardless. It'll have 8 gigs of RAM where you're not getting any RAM here. That RAM will be DDR3 instead of DDR4. You're not going to have an NVMe drive like this one will support if you want to use it. You will get a mechanical 500 gig hard drive where you get no storage at all to this. You're going to get a case and a power supply, and you're going to get Windows 10 Professional. So if you're just a basic home user, you can save a lot of money buying those off-lease Dells. Let me open up the screen capture and let me just show you what I'm talking about here, because I find this pretty interesting, and I think you will too. Let's bring up the window capture part of OBS here. Here it is. And I'll show you. So here's the board, the GIGABYTE B365M DS3H Wi-Fi-Y1. You'll see it is currently $50.99. Now, I have no affiliate or commission link to Amazon, to Newegg. I definitely have one to Amazon. I have no affiliation. I will not profit at all. I'm making this video simply for your benefit. Whether you think it's a good thing to grab while it's available, or you think it's a horrible thing to avoid, that's for you to decide, because I don't know what your needs are. Now, if I hit the back button here, you'll see there were 2 of them. This one says it's $52.99, and I don't know if this one has the built-in product key. But the one that's renewed at $50.99, that's essentially what Patrick Rousseau purchased. That's essentially what we have here. So, says the sale ends in 7 days. Today's August the 3rd, so I guess the sale ends on August the 10th. It's the same board. I just don't know if both of them have the embedded product key or if it's just the refurbished one that has the embedded product key. So if any of you buy it, let me know if yours has the embedded product key or not. You'll know when you install Windows 10 if it doesn't ask you which version to install. That's how you're going to know. If you have to pick your version of Windows 10, like I always do in my videos, then you do not have an embedded product key. And as you can see, there are some unscrupulous third-party marketplace sellers here asking ridiculous amounts of money. I mean, look at this guy. This person wants 126 bucks. You could buy 2 of those and still have $24 left over. And they're probably going to charge you for shit. Oh no, they're going to, it is free shipping. This person wants 104. So they're really counting on people not doing their homework and not knowing the value of stuff. So I always make sure that the seller is Newegg. Here it says shipped by Newegg. Anything that says shipped by Newegg, you're going to get a much better price, generally speaking, and much better customer service if there's any problem, and much more reliable and consistent shipping information, shipping time, I should say. And you can see I just went to Newegg and I just typed this into the search. Now let's look over at Amazon and let's look up Dell 7010 Optiplex. Let's see what we have available. Right here. It says it's renewed. So it's a used computer. It's a Core i5 3470. So that's a generation 3 because the first number here starts with a 3. It's still running at the same speed processors sold today run at. Faster than some processors run as far as frequency. It's got 8 gigs of RAM. This one's coming with a 1 terabyte mechanical drive and a DVD drive and Windows 10 Professional. The price of Windows 10 Professional, if you were to price it out at Newegg, is somewhere around $200. All right, now you can buy it from my link for $17. You're getting a lot of computer, and there's nothing for you to do. If you remove that mechanical drive, or in addition to it, put a solid state drive to boot from, it costs you an extra, say, $50 for a 500 gig solid state drive, and your boot up times will be nearly identical to any modern computer you would build today. Now, if you're doing some heavy processing, that's where you're really going to feel it. But in basic web surfing, email, paying bills, browsing the web, using Zoom or Skype, all that stuff, that's all on your internet connection. This computer is going to do all that super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Now, if we scroll down here on the right, scroll down. No, where is it? Sometimes right here, it says renewed. There are 11 others. Here's one that's $10 cheaper. So we click right here and it pulls up this little side window. And these are other sellers selling the exact same product. And if we get to the bottom, you're going to find where the scumbags are. So here's a scumbag. Here's a scumbag. You know, this person, yeah, maybe. But $279. So I'm going to just make a note to myself, never buy anything from these sellers because they're greedy and they're expecting to take advantage of you for not knowing the value of what you're buying. So when I look at this, I want to make sure that as much as possible, it's being fulfilled by Amazon. And if it's not being fulfilled by Amazon, that it's got free returns. And you're going to have to look at each seller individually because, well, this one may be $10 cheaper. There may be no returns allowed. Now it's saying it's got free delivery, shipping from this company, and there doesn't seem to be much more information here. 84% positive isn't great. Anything less than body temperature, what is it, 98.7 on eBay is considered a bad seller. We've got a number of bad reviews here. So for saving $10, is that a risk you want to take? Well, that's up to you. That's up to you. Now, if we get it from Amazon right here, we know we have free returns. It says so. And it's backed by the 90-day Amazon renewed guarantee. So is it worth a little $10 from 178 to 187? Is it $9? Is it worth that to you for the peace of mind knowing that they're going to stand behind it guaranteed? You know how much it costs to ship one of these? For me, This costs me a minimum of $60 minimum, and they're including that. The Windows 10 at my cost that you guys can buy it at $17, now we're at $77. A DVD drive is about $20, a power supply is about $40. So now we're looking at well, let's call it a cheap power, so let's say it's $30. So there's another $50. And then you've got a mechanical drive, let's say that's worth $10. No, it's a 1 terabyte. It's worth at least $20. You've got a motherboard, that's worth at least $50. You've got RAM, 2 sticks of 8 gigs, that's worth it. Of DDR3, it's at least $40. Add all that up. This is a steal if you're not a power user. You'll have a very quiet, reliable computer. Don't plan on upgrading it. Don't plan on doing much to repair it. This is a disposable computer, and the price reflects that. So even going back over here and buying one of these boards at $50, I still got to get a case, a power supply, memory, storage. Whether or not you want to add a DVD drive, that's another $22 minimum. Then you got to do all the work of putting it together. But now you've got a machine that's much more upgradable, and it probably will last longer because it's a newer generation chip by about 5 generations. 5 or 6 generations, depending on what chip, because you're going to have to buy the CPU too. Whether or not you want to buy a Core i3 or a Core i5 or a Core i7 or even a Pentium G processor, the choice is all yours. But when you're done, you're going to pay for this low-end build at least, it's not going to be $187, I'll tell you that. It's probably going to be somewhere between $500 to $600. I think you might be able to squeeze by with $500, but you could buy 2 of these and have money left over. So decide for yourself. That's all I'm saying. Just understand and have proper expectations of what you're buying, and you'll be a happy customer. Okay, let me go back to camera 1. Here I am. And I'll look through the chat room right now and see what we're talking about here. What's going on in the chat. David DeWitt contributes $5. Carrie, he says, please do a short video on where to find the returned products when looking at motherboards, for example. I'm following you on Amazon. Hey, David, I just showed that, so I hope you saw how I did that. There's Luke Greenia. Hey, Luke, thank you for your contribution yesterday. There's Patrick Russo in the chat room. I really appreciate Patrick bringing this to my attention. I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes. And the fact that you can still buy them and Gigabyte hasn't contacted Newegg and said you're violating our agreement, shocking. It's a really good deal. It's a really good deal. What else do we have? Scrolling through the chat. Patrick says, I just bought another one from Newegg eBay store for $60. Well, you paid too much, Patrick. They're $52, as you just saw, $50. Hey, there's Tony Wello. Tony says hello. It contributes $4.99. Thank you, Tony. Chris Garrett says, ABS PC is a part of Newegg out of Whittier, California. Years ago, ABS was not a part of Newegg. ABS sold on Computer Shopper and also sold under the name Newtrend. I had a Newtrend Celeron 433. Well, I've certainly heard of ABS, but I've never heard of Newtrend. But that's good to know. Thank you. Patrick Russo says, tomorrow is my birthday, and this great puzzle Uncle Kerry solving. Patrick, happy birthday to you. Thank you for sending that, bringing this to my attention. I'm just completely shocked. But the key was embedded like that. Jason Willis contributes $5. He says, this is for the answer and a Gatorade. Thank you, Jason. Let's see, what else do we have? John says, I'm curious if Carrie did the PID text file added to the Windows 10 USB install hack. That's an old trick. I have no reason to do that, and I don't want to manipulate my Windows 10 installation media. It's just too time consuming. This is a board I'm going to give away to a generous contributor, because the people that are generous with their contributions, they're investing in me. And whether they realize it or not, if I'm succeeding, then there are dividends that pay out, just like any other investment. So for the folks like Luke Greenia and Mortmont, there's Jose and Tony Wallow. Tony's already got 2 computers from me. He's going to get a 3rd one. It's based on how generous somebody is and where they are on the list of when they're going to get something. And then once they're taken care of, I'll move further down the list. And some people have given like $10 or $20. Folks like Rick Lakes, just broadcast after broadcast. It's $10, it's $20, it's $10. And over the course of like a year and a half, that's more than paid for a computer. And I did offer one to Rick, although he wasn't interested. He said, thank you, but no thank you. But I did tell him if he changes his mind, let me know. Because before I go handing out computers to just anybody, I want to make sure I'm taking care of the people who are taking care of me. And equally as much as possible. So the people who are the most generous will get the better machines, and the more expensive, the ones that cost me more. And then, and work my way down. If I get through everybody, then we can look at random giveaways. But to be honest, the random giveaways are much better with the Dells and the HPs, where I've already been doing those veteran giveaways. And I've got 3 more of those left. And it's much, much cheaper, much, much cheaper to do that than for me to build something. Because like I said, this is already more than twice the price. And from my perspective, it's going out the door with no profit. So I'm not, giving away a gaming computer. That's a luxury item. It's ridiculous. It'd be like giving away a Rolls Royce to somebody who doesn't have a car. It's enough to have a car. It's another thing to have a luxury car. So that's my perspective on it. And of course, I'm not obligated. I want to remind some of the entitled people who feel left out, who've given nothing but still feel like I owe them something. I'm under no obligation to do this for anybody, but I want you to know that the contributions mean that much to me. And if I can help those people, in the case of, there's a couple of viewers that have been very generous. I said, would you like one? And they said, I don't need it. I said, well, do you know somebody? Like, I'll give it to you and you can re-gift it. Because as far as I'm concerned, you paid for it. And I want to show you how much I appreciate that. And for the viewers, for whatever reason, who don't financially contribute, I'm still doing stuff for you, which is I'm sharing my experience and my education with you for free. I'm making deals with companies like My Computer Works, where you can get technical support for 30 days, all you can eat, call as often as you want, for $39 a month, and they'll waive the $65 activation fee for you. And I just did this for you. You're a complete stranger. Maybe you've done absolutely nothing for me, but I still did this for you. Maybe I made you a sandwich, and you say, well, I don't like that kind of sandwich, or I'm not hungry. It doesn't change the fact that I've done something for you already. And many things, getting you the Office product keys and the Windows 10 product keys that are 100% legit, getting you a 30% discount on RoboForm. These are all the things I've been doing for all of my viewers. And for the viewers who go above and beyond, I go above and beyond for them. That's how it works. You get what you give. So I really want to thank those contributors, and there's more than I can name, for making it possible for me to be able to pay for the parts that I'm paying for, like the CPU on this build, and this RAM on this build, and the storage drive. All Patrick did was send me the motherboard. But without Patrick, I wouldn't have had the motherboard, and I wouldn't know what the heck he was talking about. This all started with an email from Patrick that said, how do I get Windows 10 Pro to install on here? Fresh and clean. I know how to upgrade it. And I said, I don't know what you're talking about, Patrick. If that's the motherboard, I look up the board. It's a standard Gigabyte board. It's got to be your installation media. He's like, no, I follow your video. I'm like, well, I have to see it. And I thought that was the end of the conversation. The answer that Patrick really was looking for was this pid.txt file that he would have had to have made and put on his Windows 10 installation media. But I had no reason to point him to that because I had no idea you could buy this. You should not be able to buy this. This is not intended to be in a retail channel. I can almost guarantee that Newegg is violating not a law, but they're violating a sale agreement with Gigabyte. I can almost guarantee Newegg's not permitted per their agreement with the manufacturer to do this. And I think they just don't know. So you can take advantage of that if you see the value in this. It's a good deal. Zip Solution says Windows 10 Pro offers some features for normal users that might be useful, like BitLocker or group policies. Home does not offer that. There are free versions of software that you could use, and I don't know of one home user who knows what BitLocker is. So you're a technical person. So all you're doing is confirming what I just said, which is if you're a technical person, you probably need Windows Pro. If you're a regular user, and now most computer users, Dell and HP, there's 300 million new PCs sold every year on average, 300 million. So over the course of 10 years, it's 300 million plus 300 million plus 300 million plus 300 million. How many of those users do you think know what BitLocker is or care? How many people do you know? If you talk to your parents about BitLocker, what are they going to say to you? The people who need the features of Windows Pro know that they need the those features. So like when I give this information, and this is maddening, I say, guys, I'm not a channel for technical people. This is not a channel for you. This is a channel for the vast majority of computer owners. But when I say vast majority, we're talking 90% plus. These are just average, ordinary people who have a computer, and they don't care about any of this nonsense. To them, it's complete and utter nonsense. It's technically overwhelming and pointless. So for people who want to emphasize all the reasons to me, like you don't need to tell me why you need Windows 10 Pro. This is for the people who say, do I need Windows 10 Pro? And if you have to ask that question, the answer is no, right? That's all I've been saying. And yet some of the most technical people are some of the hardest people to get through. I will tell you that I can talk to an end user and they listen to me and they understand. And I can talk to a technical person and they want to fight for their limitations of their inability to expand their thought beyond anybody but themselves or people just like them. And it drives me crazy to be in such a bubble and to think you're so smart when you're completely dismissing the needs of the majority. But there are channels for technical, I would say a lot of YouTube channels are for real technical people on computers. I don't think there's very many that represent just your average ordinary computer owner who'd like to have a little more control and understanding over their computer. That's what I'm here for. So yeah, if you're a technical person, there's really not a lot for you here. If I aimed my channel at technical people, my audience would drop off by 70 to 80%. So I'm trying to appeal to the majority. And technical people are not the majority, or I'd be appealing to them. The thing is, technical people already know everything has been demonstrated here. So there's nothing they're going to learn from me because they won't. Some of them, on many subjects, have already made up their mind. And they're not wrong. What they know is right for them, but it's not right for me. It works the other way too, but they can't see it that way. So it's why I don't like talking to people like that. It's not all of them, but the ones that are the loudest like that, those are the ones that give me the most frustration. So I try to make you guys aware of it because I don't want you to feel overwhelmed when those people come out and start dishing out all this information that has no application for you. There's no practicality in it for you. So just be aware of that. stay away from those people if you're learning, because they'll make you feel stupid, they'll make you feel inferior, and they'll make you feel as though you're incapable. So it's just not a good way to learn. I would rather inspire you and give you information on a practical level in plain English. That's information most of us can use. And then for anybody else, there are specialty channels for all that stuff in abundance here on YouTube. John says the Dell Optiplexes with Haswell and beyond unfortunately do not have standard power supply connections. So again, John, I will, this is sometimes a little frustrating, guys. I'm going to repeat exactly what I said earlier. This is not a machine that you're going to upgrade much. I mean, I guess you could put more RAM and more storage. But as I said before, this is a disposable computer. So I guess on YouTube, I have to say things 3 or 4 times. People feel the need to correct me or to bring up a point that I've already made, and it's getting old. It's getting old. But I know there's no harmful intent. It's just frustrating to talk and then somebody opines their thoughts when they haven't heard what I said. And it's just a little frustrating when it keeps happening over and over and over again. So I'll just work on ignoring those people. But I do like to acknowledge people in the chat room, even if it's to point out that they're pointing out something I already pointed out. And around the wheel goes. I'm just scrolling down through the chat to see what else. So we have a viewer here in the chat, Guerrero327, who says DVD drive LMAO. This is like being a snob. This is like, I'm an elitist and I'm better than you. And you must be really stupid and backwards to need a DVD drive. I don't want these kind of people in my chat room. We don't need them here. And that kind of attitude is just not welcome here. When somebody else has needs that you don't have, it doesn't make you superior. I know people that require DVD drives that make $1,000 a day, and without the DVD drive, which is critical to their process of what they do, they're going to lose money. Somebody who has that attitude has absolutely no consideration for the real world around them and can only think of themselves. And we don't want people like that in this community. We want people to be kind to each other and supportive. And when there's something that you think is backwards or old or obsolete, that's you. That's your fault in your thinking for failing to understand all of the millions of reasons why people still need that. Some people. And they need it oftentimes for a very, very critical process. So when you're a gamer and you're a home user and you think you're superior and you download all your games off Steam, and all you can think of is, why would I buy a game on DVD? You're not understanding just how limited your thinking is. And yet when you come off so smug and elitist, it's no way to make friends. And all you're basically saying to everybody is, look how limited my thinking is. I'm so smart, I can't see beyond my own personal needs. It's a very strange thing to expose that in a worldwide public forum. You'd be better off just keeping your mouth shut unless you want to say something nice or supportive. Or maybe you want to ask a question. Maybe you can't wrap your mind around it. Maybe you've just been under a rock and you don't understand the working world. So you might ask, why would somebody have a DVD in today's day and age? I'd be happy to answer your question. But to immediately make an assumption that it doesn't meet your needs and so therefore it's laughable, makes you laughable and unwelcome in this community. There's plenty of people like that on the internet. What we have here is something special. And so when I see weeds pull up in my garden, stealing nutrients from the garden I'm trying to grow, I yank those weeds ASAP so that my garden can flourish without the weeds stealing nutrients. And it's an unfortunate side effect from having a public YouTube channel where I offer information for free that I get paid for. If you were in my classroom at the college, you'd be paying, I think it was about $300 a semester, plus books, for the same information I'm giving you. And if you didn't like the class, you'd drop it and take something else. But you wouldn't sit in my classroom and harass me, challenge me. You certainly wouldn't disrespect me. You wouldn't disrupt the class. I would get security to remove you if you wouldn't leave. So here, I don't have that ability, but I can block people. I can ban them. And one of the things I'm looking forward to with Amazon Live is their process for creating an account is much more thorough than YouTube's. So one person can have 1,000 YouTube accounts. YouTube's verification system is the very least they could possibly do. And this is going to haunt YouTube in the future. Just remember I said it when it happens. Amazon, on the other hand, they're making sales, right? So to avoid fraudulent, as much as possible to avoid fraudulent purchases, verification has to take place with an Amazon account creation, and you have to have the Amazon account in order to participate in chat. So while there are still some disruptors, it's nothing like what it is on YouTube. It's about 90% less from what I've seen, and as a result, you may start seeing much more of me on Amazon Live than on YouTube, or you may find that I simulcast it, but I don't pay attention to the YouTube chat anymore, because when it's being diluted by morons, all it's going to be left are the morons, and they can entertain themselves, but I won't pay any attention to them. And so you can just know that this is what they have created for themselves, and we can't change them. It's a waste of time. We just move away from them. And then they have to go up in a certain level of civility in order to join us. Or their lifespan in that area, their existence will be very, very limited. Whereas with YouTube, they can just keep coming back again and again and again. The other thing I could do is turn monetization on. Not monetization, I can turn memberships on here on YouTube and limit the live chat only to members. I really don't want to do that. It's where a few rotten people ruin it for everybody else. But it's highly unlikely anybody's going to pay to come in and belittle me. But at least if they're paying to belittle me, it won't upset me as much, because I'll still ban them and keep their money. And that's an easier pill to swallow. But what a shame that it would have to do that for all the other viewers who, and the vast majority of viewers, who enjoy the content for free and maybe couldn't afford it. So as long as the morons keep coming in there, you can consider that a personal attack on you. When you see somebody come into the chat room and disrupt it with intent, well, you should be taking that as a personal attack against your free participation to these videos. Because if it continues, what's going to happen is there's going to be a membership requirement. And the fault of that means that you were attacked and you lost that war. So these people are attacking your freedom. I just want you to know, I have nothing to do with it. If I had a choice, YouTube would have a much more thorough verification system. And hopefully they'll get there sooner before later, but in the meantime, you'll probably see a lot more of me on Amazon Live. And I will probably, I'll always be on YouTube. I'm not going anywhere. But if I have a choice to be on YouTube or to be on Amazon Live, I'd much rather be on Amazon Live. It's a much friendlier environment. However, I'll be doing both for a while. Live, individual videos, and then what will probably be happening is I'll simulcast, where Amazon Live will be my primary place where I'll interact with people, and I'll simulcast it over to Twitch, Facebook, and here on YouTube, but I won't interact with anybody except on Amazon Live. Then anybody can do what they want. It's out of sight, whatever, don't bother me. It bothers me when it disrupts me, but this prevents the disruption. So I want you to know this, that as a creator, if you're thinking about doing what I'm doing, it's fun, it's enjoyable. Most of the people are 100% some of the best people you'll ever meet in your life. And then you got just a little tiny percentage who have nothing better to do. And they do everything they can to try to appear to be many people. Like they did a story that most of the anti-vaccine information posted online, millions, I don't know what it is, millions of messages, has been the result primarily of 12 people. Not all of it, but the majority of all the false information is the result of just 12 individuals. So the idea is it's a very simplistic mindset of people who are simpletons, who think if they're louder, that you'll interpret that there's more of them. But loud is not a crowd. Quote me on that one. And sometimes the louder people are, that should be your trigger alert. That should be your red flag. Oh, this is a little too loud, so that's probably just one person pretending to be a bunch of people. That's a sad and miserable existence. Be glad you're not them, but be aware of what's happening and don't fall for it. Don't take their bait. There's a contribution, $2 from Nightwolf. Thank you, Nightwolf. I appreciate that. What else do we have? Patrick's posted a link to the Gigabyte motherboard to Amazon. And what else? What else? Patrick says they paid Flava Flav $2 million to roast him. They could roast me for $3.50. Actually, roasting, I would pay to be roasted, because when it's done to be funny, that's wonderful. I love to laugh. I'll laugh at myself, no problem. In fact, if you can't laugh at yourself, you shouldn't be laughing at anybody else. Sense of humor is my coping mechanism, for sure. It's how I gotten through life, being short and having a girl's name and constantly being picked on. Thank goodness my father raised me. My father is a very funny man. And the sense of humor is priceless. But picking on somebody is not roasting. Roasting is that we're all on the same page. Okay, Mitch and I roast each other all the time, for example. It's done. You roast the ones you love, as they like to say. But when the other person's not on board with it, that's bullying. So you both have to be on the same pages. Frank M says, hey, Carrie, best wishes for your new endeavors. Hey, thank you so much, Frank. It's, again, not an all or nothing situation here. I'll be doing both indefinitely. And what else do we have? Austin says, Carrie, I understand what the channel is for and the audience you are striving for. I'm technical. I do it for a living. And I still enjoyed your video yesterday going over an old BIOS upgrade. Thank you, Austin. I don't mean to imply that all technical people aren't welcome, but the technical people who exhibit a behavior that is common behavior exhibited, how can I say this? The behavior that's exhibited when it's that nasty, when it's that elitist, that snobbish, is only done by somebody who's technical. But not all technical people do it, nor is it common in the technical arena. It's just that the people who do it are technical people. And those people have lots of other channels where they can watch and judge. As if their judgment means anything to anybody, since they're nobody. If you're my peer, if you're my friend, your opinion matters to me. But if you're just a complete stranger, maybe even a bot, I don't know who you are. I don't know why you think I care. It's like, I don't know who you are. Somebody says to me, I want you to picture this. If somebody walks up to you, just randomly, you're in the middle of the grocery store and somebody says, I don't like you. Okay. And who cares? Didn't ask. But now, if somebody you like, somebody like, I don't know, a family member, your mother says, I don't like you. That's pretty devastating for most of us, don't you think? How would you react if your mother said, I don't like you. I bet it hurt. But when a complete stranger says it to you, they haven't even introduced themselves. They haven't even explained why it should matter to you if they like you. They just immediately go right. They skip step one, they skip step two, they go right to step three. So step one is you introduce yourself. Step two is you give a little background as to who you are. Then step three is you can offer your opinion. But to just offer your opinion without establishing those first two things isn't going to make you very many friends in real life. It's not a good first impression. And I don't know why you think that you would be changing anything or having any impact on the world around you other than just making yourself more miserable, which you obviously already are if you're somebody who would do that. So you're just feeding yourself more poison and expecting the other person to die. It's a very strange behavior. Zopo Simone contributes a 10 PLN. I don't know what a PLN is. He says, you're so intelligent and wise. I admire that. The trick is to just not show people how stupid I am. Try to hide that as much as possible. I don't think I've ever received that currency before. That's a Polish zloty, which is equivalent to 10 Polish zloty is $2.61. I think you're the first person to ever pay me in PLN. So thank you for that. I appreciate you very much. And I appreciate your kindness. I certainly don't expect people to kiss my butt and to just tell me how wonderful I am. I mean, it's nice. Who wouldn't like that? But I just expect you to be kind to everybody here in the chat room. That's all. It's amazing how, I guess that's a lot to ask, but we have an amazing community here. I hope you'll stick around, and I hope I'll see you around often in the chat because we need more people like you. We can never have too many here in the chat. And we have one of the most amazing communities I've ever experienced with consistency on the internet. And this is a side effect of a channel that I never set out or planned for. And sometimes I'll just make a video because I like you guys so much. I want to hang out with you. And I don't really have much to say. I just like, hey, let's hang out, you know? Well, I always have something to say, but it may not be anything. There may not be a particular subject of a video that's being followed because I'm more interested in having a conversation. And then when that gets disrupted by somebody who's just so desperate for attention and so lonely, it's very disappointing because I didn't do anything to them. So, you know, I grew up where we were brought up that we would never start a fight, but we will end it. And when people mistake kindness for weakness, they quickly find out I squish them like a bug. So probably the worst thing anybody can do is underestimate me and confuse my kindness as a weakness, because it's a mistake they'll only make once. And it's just the way I grew up. It's just something I had to learn to survive. And it's shocking to me how many people can't tell the difference and how easy they are to get them to stop their behavior because they don't expect what's coming, because they think, oh, he's weak. And then when they find out I'm not weak, they pretty quickly stop. It's unfortunate we live in a world like that where people just can't leave each other alone. We used to have a couple of attitudes in culture when I grew up, which was mind your own business and give people the benefit of the doubt. If it's somebody you don't know and you know, what did you mean by that? You know, you'd ask them, you wouldn't just assume. You gave them the benefit of the doubt. Well, those days are over. The benefit of doubt in American culture is gone. Some people still do it, people like me, but it's rare. And people minding their own business, not anymore. So the world's changing, and it's not a world I grew up in. And I find it disappointing that the human race would devolve in this way. But you know, it is what it is. I can't change it. But I do hope that what remains of people that are respectful of others and offer benefit of the doubt, I hope I'm attracting those people here, however many of us remain. Yes, we are a dying breed. We need to stick together. All right, what else we got going on? And John Paul Bacon says there's nothing wrong with just hanging out. I agree. I agree. Hey, there's Rick Lakes in the chat, John Williams. Thank you for the kind words, John. Elke Stophius says, I feel you, Carrie. Yeah, I'm not making it up. Ron Tooney wants to know, can a damaged Intel socket pin damage the CPU over time or just the motherboard? When we talk about potential damage, there is no one size fits all. It depends which pin is damaged, how it's damaged, what CPU you have, how long it's been that way. If it's been that way forever, it's probably not doing anything. It's electronics. It's got power. If it's got power, it's got power. So likely if there's going to be damage, it's going to happen immediately, not over time. Most people don't own electronics long enough for that to even be anything to be concerned about. So it may be possible after 15, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years that it could cause damage over decades, but most people would not have a machine that they're using daily that's that old. And I'm going to repeat this because I already anticipate the chat. Most people are not going to daily use a computer that's 15 plus years old. Therefore, because there's going to be somebody, go ahead. Well, my computer is 17 years old. I still use it every day. Get it out of your system. So the longevity of these components is irrelevant. Their lifespan is longer than our lifespan. We will likely fail before the majority of these modern day parts will. And that's the truth. There are parts that fail for other reasons. It could be a power outage, it could be a user error, it could be just a defective component or error in manufacturing that shows up. But mostly, if electronics like this, solid state electronics, if they work without ever failing, unless they have moving parts. So if it's got a cooling fan, that fan, or if it's a mechanical drive, it's got a motor that spins the platters, that will be your first point of failure, statistically speaking. The manufacturing process with surface mount technology, where robots put everything precisely in the same place in the same way, they don't have a bad day, they don't slip with the soldering iron, they are perfect every single time, and then they quality control check it with lasers and make sure that all the parts are located where they're supposed to be on top of software verification. The reliability and quality control we're seeing today on modern electronics is unlike anything we ever had in the 70s or 80s or 90s. This is not that anymore. The quality of this stuff is absolutely outstanding. But when you have a bent pin on an Intel socket, it's hard to know. You just take your chances or replace it. It is what it is. But if you'd like, I can go grab my magic 8-ball and ask it, because it would be just as accurate as an answer as what I'm giving you. But if one of those pins under the CPU is carrying voltage through it, and it's somehow bent in a way that's hitting the grounding area of the chip, it's very possible that it could permanently damage that CPU. Is it likely? Depends on the pin. It depends on how it's bent. I can't say if it's likely or not. I don't know. How can anybody know that? You need a crystal ball. The good news is this stuff is cheaper now than ever before. So do your best, try not to damage a pin. That would be my advice. You don't have to worry about it. I appreciate the question. Does anybody else have other questions for me? I'd be happy to do my best to provide you an answer. Yates Network says, what's the squirrel's name? Talking about Nutty? He's a little offended you don't know his name. He's going to have a word with you. I really need to get 2 monitors set up in here because I can't see what I'm doing and monitor the chat at the same time. So let me try this again. Take 2. I'm Nutty. Who the hell are you? Don't you know who I am? What's that human's name? Yates Networks? What kind of human name is that? Who the hell's Yates Networks? He doesn't know my name. How can you not know the most famous squirrel on YouTube? Oh, I'm so angry I could just shake. Oh, calm down, Nutty. Calm down. It's okay. It's okay. Here, let's get you set up on your video game, Nutty. Let's get Nutty set up here a little. Let's get him a little distracted here. Let's get Nutty's video game on. Nutty's a very serious gamer. Oh my goodness. Is this thing broken or what? Okay. Let me put on a game for Nutty. Takes a minute. Let's put on Nutty's favorite games here. Okay. Yeah, you didn't know it worked, did you? I bet you can't hear it. I bet my microphone's muting it out. Oh, move, Mario. All right, Nutty, here, just play your video game, buddy. Just get it off your mind. It's going to be okay. He just forgot. Don't take it so personally. Well, I mean, how many squirrels are on YouTube? Just let it go. Let it go. I don't know who he gets that from. Hey, there's Madi. Speaking of generous contributors and wonderful members of the community, Madi Yoel contributes $20. He says, hey, Carrie in chat. Adam Sleeth contributes 20 Australian dollars. He says, this is for the squirrel. Oh, that's going to keep you nuts for a while. William Lynn asks, what's the best extended or accidental warranty for tablets and laptops? I don't know. That's nothing I've ever really studied. So I don't have any opinion on it. I can't tell you one's better than another. I don't know. Sorry. Brian says, are we going to fix the PC? Well, what's wrong with it, Brian? What? Do you know something I don't know? I'm confused over your question. Did you just tune in and you don't know what we're doing? Or have I forgotten something? Does anybody have any technical questions for me? What is an affordable graphics card for gaming? I don't think you can even get a graphics card, can you? But whatever one you can get. And what do you consider affordable? I mean, I got a friend of mine that's worth $10 million. I think his idea of affordable might be different than yours. But I'd say whatever card you can get for whatever price you can get it in the current market is probably the best affordable card for you. Statue collecting says, I try not to pre-order anything. My wallet thanks me. Pre-ordering is free. I don't know what you're talking about. I've pre-ordered stuff all the time. I got the new book coming out by Warren Davis, where he talks about how he created Qbert. It's going to be out in the fall sometime. It's $24.95 on Amazon. I pre-ordered it. There's no charge to my credit card or my bank because they haven't shipped it. So pre-ordering is completely free. Nobody should be charging you for something on a pre-order. But when it ships, that's when you get charged. Luke says, when you get my system done, let me know and I'll send you $100 for shipping. I mean, you've more than covered it, Luke, but I'm going to let you know so you have the tracking information. It's going to require a signature because of its value. You know, the FedEx won't just leave it on your porch for somebody to steal. So I want to make sure you know when to expect it. So I always send an email with a copy of the receipt that shows the shipping amount and proves that I sent it. And some people misinterpret that like I'm billing them for the shipping, but no, it's just there for your information, that I don't exaggerate when I tell you how much it costs. A lot of people find it hard to believe. So I always scan the receipt, and I also provide a link right in the email that you can click on so you don't have to manually type in that long FedEx tracking number. And then you'll see your estimated arrival date. And if you're not going to be home, or if you want to pick it up at a FedEx store instead of having them bring it to you, you can arrange all that with FedEx once you have that tracking info. Starlink wants $99 up front. Is that refundable? Like, I know you can put a deposit down. So a deposit isn't a pre-order. So there's two different definitions here. If you're putting down a deposit for something, some deposits are refundable and some deposits are not refundable. So if I wanted to put a deposit down on a Tesla Cybertruck, it's $100, fully refundable up until a certain point where it's no takesy backsies. But that's not pre-ordering it. You're confusing two things. Glenn's Music says, Carrie, I don't always see my network PCs, and furthermore, some of them need a domain password about which there's a baffling amount of information, but nothing clear. Can you help? Well, here's the problem with networking. You haven't told me anything about what you're networking. Are you the Windows 10, Home, Pro, combination of Windows 10 and something else, and how many? And are you using a router or using a router and a switch? And do you have any networking experience? Have you tried Uncle Carrie's Windows NetFix tool that's for Windows 10 that solves a lot of this? And what are you trying to connect to? And for what purpose are you trying to network? What is it you're trying to accomplish? Because without any of this information, what you're asking me is something like, well, how does an airplane cockpit work? Well, it depends on the type of plane, a prop plane, a jet plane, a commercial airliner. And when you say, how does it work? Are you referring to the intricacies of the technology, or are you referring to how to operate it? And if so, which specific model of plane? Because the location and options are going to vary from model to model to model. So you may not realize just how complex of a question you answered because you've oversimplified everything. So while I would like to help you, you're going to have to be very, very specific about what you're trying to do. Now, I can tell you in general that if you're trying to network more than 2 computers and you've never done it before, or you're having a problem, you need to get 2 computers to work first. Okay? Don't worry about anything beyond the first 2. You pick whatever 2 you want. You got 100 computers. I don't care. You pick 2. Figure out to teach yourself how to configure them, right? Because we have an education we have to get through. And once those 2 can talk and see each other back and forth, then adding 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, etc., will be much easier for you. So I see a lot of people, they just slam it all in. It's like cooking. You don't just throw all your spices in unless, you've cooked it before. If it's something you've never done before, you add a little at a time because of something, and you taste it. If something throws it off, you'll know exactly what it was, right? As you continue to do that over and over and over again, you'll have a better understanding of expectation of how much salt is too much salt, or should I even be adding salt at all? So if you're just grabbing all the ingredients and throwing it in a pot because that's what you saw online, it's probably going to taste horrible. So there's a process of learning it. But vague questions only lead to vague answers. But if you just pick two computers, start with those two, and then explain to me what it is you're trying to accomplish. Are you trying to share a folder? Are you trying to share a printer? Are you trying to access a NAS? I don't even know what you're trying to accomplish. Maybe you're trying to do something. Like I have somebody, for example, well, not somebody, quite often somebody will ask me how to do something. And I'll go through the process of answering it. And they're like, but that still doesn't work. And I go, well, yeah, it does. They go, no, what I'm trying to do isn't working. And what are you trying to do? Well, I'm trying to do this other thing. Okay, but that's got nothing to do with what you asked me. Oh, well, I thought it did. You know how maddening that is? So one of the things I've learned to ask as a computer technician is when somebody specifically asks, how do I network or something like that? I go, well, forget networking. What is it you're trying to do? You want to see files and folders off another machine? You want to see the whole machine? You may not be able to see the whole machine for security reasons. They don't want you to get into the Windows or system folders for security, and you could ruin the whole operating system. So you might be trying to do something you can't do. Or you might be doing something you don't need to do that doesn't have anything to do with what you're trying to accomplish. So if you tell me what you're trying to accomplish, let's start there. Maybe I can help you. This is getting a little warm. Let me step off screen for a second and grab another colder Gatorade. It's a record heat this week. Actually, not this week. Today and tomorrow. We're going to be somewhere 112. And then the rest of the week, it should cool back down a little bit, a little over 100, I hope. It's just brutal out there. So much better. Oh, it's cold. Oh, yeah. I should fill the bathtub with this. Nutty, can you turn the sound off of that? Let me just put this over here with you. Okay, let's just put this over here. You can go right there, buddy. I'll give you your game. Hold on. Here you go, bud. Talking to stuffed squirrels now. Won't be long before I collect my own fingernails in a jar. Let's laugh now before it becomes true. Proctor wants to know what the most expensive PC is that a customer has ordered. That would be the digital audio workstation, which was 2 PCs that were ultra high-end for a Hollywood music creator. I don't know what you call it, music composer. This gentleman, these computers were of such high value, I was very nervous about shipping them to California, even though from Phoenix to LA is not that far. I said, you know what, I'll just load them into the car. And what I ended up doing, and that video is here on the channel, the digital audio workstation, DAW build. It's a master and slave computer, very, very high end. And I left about 9 o'clock in the morning. I got there, there was an hour time difference, so I got there, it was an hour earlier. So it was around noon or 1 o'clock. I dropped the computers off in the Hollywood area in that Los Angeles. I stopped and filled up the gas tank and grabbed a bite, went through the drive-thru at McDonald's, got back in the car, drove back home, where then I gained the hour back. And I was back at, I think, 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening. So I went from Phoenix to Los Angeles back to Phoenix. I just didn't trust. I know how to ship confidently now, but back then, these computers were $4,000 a piece. It was about an $8,000 build. And they had those giant Noctua DH15 heat sinks on this, you know, it was like, ugh, inexpensive video cards. And I think this guy's sound card was, he didn't ship it to me, he was putting it in himself. But I think his sound card was like $4,000. So. You guys are hilarious. I'm enjoying the chat. Carrie, is it true that arcade games were equipped to sense when somebody walked by? Well, how would they do that? How would that be possible? In the 1980s? How was that possible? Gosh, can you imagine if we had that technology in the 1980s? Matthew provides the link to the DAW build. Thank you, Matthew. I think there's a live, not a live version. Those were edited back then. But I think there's 2 different edited versions. One I think is more aggressively edited. Or was it that one's the edited version of the slave and one's the edited version of the master? And then one's the edited version of the 2 edited versions together? Can't remember anymore. It's probably fine. Jason says motion sensing isn't that new. Yeah, I know. We didn't have arcade games with motion sensors. Like if you went into like a grocery store, right, that had the automated doors, those sensors were like this big. So if an arcade game had that on there, it would have to, you'd have to be able to see it for it to see you. That would be pretty obvious, right? And the expense of that would be cost prohibitive to the money making of the arcade game. If the arcade game costs more to make, then it's going to be harder to earn back your investment. So it wouldn't make any sense to do that. So in short, no, it's not true. Not in the 1980s. Matthew says this is the 3-hour video of the DAW build. That sounds like the complete thing. It sounds like both machines. A pressure sensitive mat. No, you couldn't do that because, so I don't know if you were around in the 1980s, but an arcade, the arcades I went to would have 200 machines. And they're bumped up against each other, boom, 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 with no space in the middle. They were literally up against the wall, against all 4 walls, except for the entrance and exits, and then across in the center, forming sort of an aisle where they were back to back. And then you would have perhaps an area of pinball machines. And it was typically either a carpeted floor. I guess it wouldn't matter if it was carpeted or not. There'd be no way to essentially, some of these machines were sit-down machines. There was a sit-down Star Trek and Pole Position and Spy Hunter and Star Wars, and on and on and on. Those machines weighed upwards of 500 pounds. There's no way you could realistically, let me rephrase this. So we run into this issue on the internet where people in culture have become like computers. People's behavior are starting to mimic a computer. And people are becoming literal. Nobody can understand, I know what you mean anymore. They can only translate literally because I guess they're so used to communicating with a computer, and the computer keeps punishing them for misunderstanding anything other than literal translation, that people now behave that way. So would it have been possible to have an arcade game do something differently if somebody walked by placing a pressure mat one of those big sensors that used to be over the doors. Obviously that's possible, but it would have been completely impractical and would have gone against the whole point of the arcade machine. And the arcade machine had one point, and that was to make money. So arcade machines would go into a demo mode, and you could turn the sound on or off if you were the arcade operator. Because if you found the sound annoying running all day, like Dragon's Lair, it just repeats over and over and over and over if nobody's playing it. And if you're working 8 hours a day in the arcade, it's maddening to just keep hearing the same thing over and over again. It's maddening to just keep hearing the same thing over and over again. It's maddening to keep hearing the same thing over and over again. It is maddening to keep hearing this. You see what I'm getting at? So there would be a switch to turn that off for people that wanted to, for arcade owners that wanted to. Evidence Savant with a $20 contribution. Thank you for your contribution. Evident Savant 12. If there's any other technical questions, I'll do my best to provide answers for you guys. Here. There's like a 90-second delay from when I speak to when you hear me. So I have to sort of stall for time. So I thought I'd just kind of look through some of the previous chats. Kenny, you keep deleting messages from Nightwolf. Kenny Whidden, please stop. Please, Kenny, if you don't stop, I'm going to remove your blue status. Remember, I'll never get mad at anybody in blue for abusing their power if you don't use your power. So if you're uncertain if something should be allowed or not, your best bet is to let somebody else make that decision. If somebody's being vulgar, it's a different thing. So Kenny, please don't make me remove your blue status. Nightwolf, I'm sorry that Kenny's been deleting your messages. Sometimes I get a mod that gets a little out of control and starts making decisions they're not supposed to make. So the only time you should be removing any message is if it's vulgar. Appreciate it, Kenny. I know you're looking out, but unfortunately you're causing more harm than good. So I'd prefer that you just stop. And let's keep you blue, and let's keep everybody friendly. You know, should all be supportive. Brian Lightfoot says, I just found out that the company that makes yardsticks will not be making them any longer. Really? There's just one company on the planet that makes a yardstick? I'm pretty sure that's not true. Are they an exalted ruler? I cracked myself up. Proctor says, so you know that $6,000 computer build you're doing, Carrie? If I built that, I wouldn't build another system for nearly 10 years. Proctor, I wouldn't even build it if I didn't have a YouTube channel. There's no way I would ever need or want a system that heavy and impractical. It is beyond stupid. The reason I'm doing it is because it gets views. And once I pretty much put the biggest of everything, like if it's got 256 gigs of RAM, you can't go any higher than that. I got that 9980XE on that X299. There's just really nothing worth going beyond. At that point, I've maxed, two 8 terabyte NVMe drives. That's it. There's nothing bigger I can do without going into servers or anything bigger worth doing until there's a replacement for the X299, whatever its successor becomes, until DDR5, until 16 terabyte NVMe's. So once it's done, it's sort of like there's no way to top that. That's currently, I have to wait for new technology. That is just the maximum of everything I can do for that level of computer, without going into Xeons and server level stuff. So that's the point of it. I would never build that for myself. No, I'd rather have a car for that kind of money. And it's probably going to be depreciating just as much. Actually, cars are worth more now than ever with the pandemic, here in the US anyway. So there's a disclaimer on that video, which is you shouldn't build this at home. You should not see this as anything other than entertainment. And I wonder what would happen if I had the ability to get the best of all this consumer grade stuff and maxed it out to its maximum capacity. What would that be like? Well, this video answers that question. And I can give you a spoiler alert. It's not worth it. But we're going to do it. And then we'll say we did it. And then maybe when the technology evolves with bigger storage and faster RAM and a different type of chipset, if I'm a nutcase, I'll do it again. But you realize I'm going to be stuck with this build. And 6,000 is only the beginning. There's probably going to be another 4,000. So it's probably going to be $10,000 put into it. Nobody's going to buy that from me for $10,000. And if I sell it for anything less, it's a loss. And I don't even know how I'd move it. It's going to require 2 people to lift it. And it doesn't have wheels on it. So it's really, really just for entertainment purposes here. But if you know anybody who's interested in a $10,000 computer, I might take $500 loss and sell it for $9,500. Maybe. $500 is a lot of money to lose. But if you know somebody looking for a $10,000 computer for $9,500 and they can pick it up and I don't have to deliver it, send them my way. I'll give you a 10% commission. It's a pretty good commission. It's at almost $1,000. Now I lost $1,500. I won't need it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. It's going to be a burden. But I need the content. Need that content, but I decided, well, let's see what happens if we do this. I'm hoping that I'll generate revenue through YouTube or sponsorship that will more than pay for that. So it's an investment in myself, and it's all paid for through contributions. But you guys that you so generously contribute, I want to show you. You don't have to take my word. I don't like it when people are just like, oh, because I said so. No, I'm going to show you. Where do you think these parts came from? No manufacturer on that, currently it's a $6,000 build, has sent me any part that I'm using. This is all paid for because you guys have been supporting me. And so I put it right back into the channel with content you're not likely to see elsewhere, or you're not likely to see that here because I'm so low budget. I'm one guy. I got to do everything. So I don't have that kind of money to throw around. So it's more than what is coming in from you guys. However, over time, you guys have given more than that. You know what I'm saying? So I just hope it's a gamble. But the truth is I love what I do. And even when it's stupid, I can show you and you can live vicariously through me so you won't feel the need of missing out or wondering what it's like. Right? You can experience it with me. We'll build it together. And when it's all said and done and we can look at all the specs and drool over all the specs, it's not going to boot any faster than your machine boots. It's not going to open up Internet Explorer any faster. If it's faster, it's by milliseconds. Your internet's not going to be any faster than you're paying for from your provider with the machine you have now. So it's really just stupid. But if you're in productivity, not productivity, if you're doing some kind of production work where you need multiple PCIe lanes for tons and tons of channels and lanes of traffic, oh, this is a beast. I'm thinking I might need to get on the phone with Anthony Remus over at Remus Computer Solutions in Las Vegas to find out if he would have any customers that might need it, because he routinely sells computers that are $12,000. A single computer that, like a Threadripper with a 3090 graphics card being used in CAD production houses, that's being overclocked and warranted for 3 years against any sort of a failure. The amount of labor that Anthony puts into testing these to ensure a stable overclock is insane. And he's got to buy everything in spare parts, right? If he's got a certain motherboard that he's warranting for 3 years, he's got to buy a duplicate motherboard to put on his shelf, because if his customer needs it and the board's not available or no longer manufactured, what's Anthony going to do to honor his warranty? So now Anthony has to buy all these extra parts just in case. And he's got to hold on to them until the end of the warranty period, at which point he can then use them to build another system and then sell them. So he's got this long 3-year gestation period of investment. And so that's why a machine like that will set you back. It's not uncommon. You know, I'd say Anthony's machines on average run 6 to 12, 6,000 to 12,000. I don't know that he builds many machines for under that. And when I spend a day building 3 machines, he spends 1 week building 1, because of all the testing and balancing that has to go out with overclocking a stable system that he's got a warranty. And it's very, very expensive. So I'll get on the phone, I'll talk to Anthony and find out if there's anything off of this system I could sell to him. Maybe I sell it at a bit of a loss so he can make a profit on it, but he can get rid of it instead of me. I won't ship it to him though. I'll put it in the car and drive it to Las Vegas. It's 4.5 hours. It won't go in the Mustang. I can guarantee that. It won't fit in the Mustang. Chris Cowley contributes $10. He says, "Hey, Kerry, thanks for this video on an interesting problem. Here's $10 for the hydration fund." Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that very much. Glad you're enjoying the content. Mitch Morrison says, "Give the build to Mitch." If you can pick it up, Mitch and I have a build coming up. So, you know, I'm planning ahead, right? I got videos planned ahead for months. And, you know, I kind of feel like I want to give something back to you guys right now. So for those of you who are lucky enough to be tuned in right now, about 388 of you, I'm going to reward you with a little sneak peek of something here. I have to clear the desk. Oh, you know what? It seems like a lot of work. Maybe I'll just do this instead. Probably sometime in October. I mean, I'll get to it as soon as I can. We got to do the big $6,000 build. And that's going to be a series of videos because, like I said, that's going to have 2 computers. We're still building the first computer. Then it's going to get another computer and another power supply and another CPU. And that also goes in the same case, and we'll use a KVM switch. I'll explain to you, for those of you who don't know what it is and why you'd want one. And we're going to have 2 computers in the same case. So that's going to add another $800 to $1,200 to what's already there. We'll throw a 3090 GPU in there. That's going to add another couple thousand. And then we'll add, like I say, I'll double the RAM. We'll go to 256 gigs of RAM. So that's not all been purchased yet. So as my revenue comes in from contributions that YouTube shares with me once a month. When that time comes, I can afford to buy more, but we're not at the stage to need those parts right now. So as we extend this episode to episode, it's also buying me time so that I'm not shoveling out that large amount at one time to pay for those parts. But over here on Newegg, let's see if I can show you this. Go back to the window capture. Let's take a look up here and let's type in pan slim silver. Mitch is going to join me to build an HT PC, a home theater PC. This is the Ragenic Pan Slim Silver. These are the different photos here of it. Kind of a retro looking build. And this has room for a liquid cooler and a graphics card. Everything just kind of lays side by side by side. Instead of stacking things on top, things lay side by side. So your graphics card's on one side, your radiator's on another side, your motherboard's in the middle. And of course you need a low profile cooler, which is why a liquid cooler is really good there. But everything just kind of lays flat side by side by side. And if you want to add a GPU, it'll take that. Kind of looks like this. So you see they've got the liquid cooler radiator over here. We've got a mini ITX board in the middle. There's our power supply. And then there's the graphics card they've got in there, and there's a 2.5 inch, oh sorry, the power supply is over here. There's your power supply. This is 2.5 inch storage. We won't even use 2.5 inch storage. There's another 2.5 inch storage here, and then 3.5 inch storage underneath that. So it's pretty roomy. What do you guys think? Think that's going to be a good build? I thought Mitch said he wanted this one. Better make up your mind, Mitch. It's going to be Mitch's Computer Warehouse. He's going to say, I want that. And he's going to sell them on Craigslist. That's a smart businessman. What do you guys think? Do you like it? Richard Angeline contributes $5. He goes, here's $5 for the sneak peek. Mitch says, I'm going to put that in my screening room. Yeah, his screening room at his house. I've never seen Mitch's house. For all I know, Mitch is living in a shelter. I don't know. Keeps talking about a house in a screening room. Maybe someday he'll invite me over. So isn't it suspicious? I've never been there. I'm kidding. Mitch has invited me over. I just haven't had time. And, you know, I feel like it's going to be crowded in that refrigerator box he lives in. What's your cable routing plan? What makes you think I have one? Nate says 2 PCs, 1 case. What is this? Witchcraft? Yeah, you want to see that case? Let's go back. Let's go back to that window capture. And let's close that and let's look for the 1000D, because that's the case we're building that big beast in. That's crazy. $709.99. And the pictures aren't even any good here. It's just a black box. You can't see anything. These are some of the worst product pictures Newegg's ever shown. And that price. Why would you buy this from Newegg for $710? Why would you do that? You must not know what it's worth. You must have no concept of what you're buying to pay that kind of money. Because if you just go to, it was my search for that donation. Let's go to Corsair and let's buy the case directly from Corsair. Did you know you could do that? Oh, I probably should spell it right though. Let's just do that. Corsair 1000D. Here we go. Corsair.com. Clicky, clicky. And it's $514.99. Add to cart. Free shipping. I don't understand. Why would anybody pay Newegg $200, nearly $200 over the manufacturer's suggested retail price. In other words, the manufacturer is making a profit off of $514.99. So how much profit is Newegg making on that? Here, let's click find a retailer. How much does Amazon have it for? Amazon wants more than Corsair. How much does Walmart have it for? Walmart has it for $581. That's way more than Corsair. How much does Micro Center have it for? $559, available for in-store pickup only. Boy, I hope somebody films that and posts it on TikTok. That's going to be hilarious. Here you are, sir. You need some help out to the car with that? Because we're not going to help you. We're just curious. So there's your 4 suggested retailers, all asking for more money. But I could just hit add to cart for $514.99. And there it is. And I can just check out. Well, what's the big deal here? So I would suggest that you guys be smarter consumers and know the value of the thing you're looking to buy. Do a little research. And it never hurts to look at the manufacturer's site, because sometimes not only can you buy it cheaper from the manufacturer, sometimes manufacturers have returned units that they sell directly. Do you remember way back in the day, in 2013, I built in what was, I think, the largest case, the Corsair, what was that case called? Cosmos 2. Remember that? That case was purchased by the customer as a refurbished case at a significant discount. And it was brand new. It's basically a brand new case. There was nothing, we didn't see scratches, dents. And you could know it was refurbished because it had 2 sets of kits. First, the parts kits. It had a duplicate parts kits. So we had an extra set of everything. Somebody made a mistake. And I was like, you know, what'd you pay for the case? He's like, you're not going to believe this, Gary. I bought it off Corsair as a scratch and dent model, or a refurbished. I think it was called refurbished. And he says, I think he picked it up for $200 or something really, really cheap. It wasn't offered through any of the retailers. You had to go to Corsair. So all I'm trying to let you be aware of is that sometimes you can go directly to a manufacturer of any product. And before you settle on buying something, just shop around a little bit. Even if it's 5 minutes, just look to see what others are selling it for. Isn't that interesting? I thought it was interesting. So if I look at, where was I at? I was looking at something. Oh yeah, I was trying to show you the pictures of the case and squirrels got in the way. At least Micro Center's got better pictures. Go back to Micro Center's site here. So that's a much better picture. So I've got the 8 LL120 fans. Amazon's limiting 3 fans per person per address. So I ordered 3 new ones, and then I ordered 3 returned ones. And then there's no limit on the returned ones, so then I found 2 more returned ones. So I have 8. That set me back for these 8 fans, $170, I think. They're like $22 a piece. But they all have to be the same, and they need to be compatible with the RGB controller. And I still need to get 2 more to go back here, because the fan at that, the case, even at $515 or $709 if you're buying it at Newegg, there's no fans. And then we've got this beautiful liquid cooler going up here that also uses the same fan. So all of the lighting sequencing is all going to be exact. All the fan noise is going to be exact. Everything's going to match. This is going to be a showpiece. And if we take another look at it, let's see, even the RGB ports, even the USB ports have RGB around them that also is controlled. It's not just the LED, it's an RGB. So all of this up here lights up and you can change so it matches the fans. And what you do is you put your motherboard in here, but down here, the case is so wide that this right here, the shroud for the power supply, you put a mini ITX motherboard right on top of that. And then there's a space for a small form factor power supply. Yeah, these are much better pictures than Newegg has. So there's, I think, a power switch for the secondary motherboard in the back. You've got an I/O shield here. Where does the I/O shield go for the second board? Because if that's laying flat, I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. Figure it out when we get there. I'm not sure how that's going to work. Should be for an interesting video, though, right? Yeah. All right. Sorry, I was distracted by all the pretty lights. Yeah. So Mitch is going to join me again here Friday at 1 o'clock. And what are we doing? I guess we gotta get the case up here on the workbench. That'll take two of us to lift this thing up. It's a giant thing. And we gotta put this liquid cooler in here. I bought this liquid cooler used. I'll show you. I have to go get it. I haven't opened this up, so I'm hoping there's nothing wrong with it. But this was a returned product on Amazon. So once again, we've got all the same fans and the water block. This is all going to match. It's all going to be aesthetically, it's all made by Corsair. It's using all the same models of fans, and all the lighting is going to be the same brightness and the same pattern. It's the same control. They all mimic exactly what you want them to do. So you don't have to run different pieces of software or worry about compatibility. So this doesn't, there are better coolers, yeah, but they won't look this good. So we're not going to have a heat issue regardless. So the IQ H150i Elite Capellix. Let's see how much this is. I'm just kind of curious what this sells for. Let's go back to Amazon. Let's go back to window capture here. Let's flip that back on. And let's type in IQ H150i Capellix. Here it is. So brand new, you can see it sells for $175.42. But if we scroll down here, it says save with used, good condition, $136, and it ships from Amazon and sold by Amazon. So we have that peace of mind on the return, which I think you have 30 days and free shipping to return it back. So 136 from 175, about a $40, $39 savings to do that, just on that one part. This power supply I'm putting in there is a, oh man, I couldn't believe the price on the Seasonic 1300 watt prime is $446 for this power supply. $446. You believe that? $446 for this power supply. So I bought it returned. Scroll down here. $439. That's no deal. $439. That's only $7. Forget that. I think I paid $70 less. I think I paid like $370 for it. And it's perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. It's perfect. And again, from Amazon warehouse. So not all the Amazon stuff is a better deal. You just kind of have to look for it. You can save a lot of money. This is where you look for it. So now I've shown you twice. Yeah, can you believe that? $446. That's insane. You'd have to be nuts. Someone saying nuts? No? Okay. James wants to know if I've ever done hardline water cooling. No, I'm not a plumber. I've done some under my sink. I've changed out and rebuilt a few toilets in my day. Good news is none of them have overheated. Maybe I'll do some, what else can I do that's not related to computers and a whole nother career field? We got plumbing. Maybe I put a set of tires on one and balance them. The problem with the custom problem with custom loops is it takes a lot of time, and the coolant that you use, it generates bacteria over time. It needs to be drained and refilled at least once a year. And all of these all-in-one coolers, you know, they sludge up over time, or the motors fail, or they get crud built up. And so they're not a permanent solution like an air cooler. Primarily when I'm using all-in-one liquid coolers, it's not for the cooling principle, it's for the look of it. I don't think you'll ever see me, or nor I don't think have you ever seen me, well, I guess I've done it. On the Cosmos 2, I put a liquid cooler in there, and I said this liquid cooler will probably die in about 4 or 5 years. And if you Google that, or not Google, but if you search my YouTube channel for that, you'll see the system came back almost 4 years on the dot with overheating problems, and the liquid cooler died. But what I was going to say is I don't think you'll see me put a liquid cooler in unless there's a case window, because I'm primarily doing it for looks. But the Cosmos 2 does not have a case window, and it was not put in for looks. Let me show you how to use YouTube. Why don't we do that? Let's just bring up a different browser where I'm not signed into YouTube so you can see. Now, if you're watching YouTube from a different platform, like you're not using a web browser, but maybe you're watching on a phone or a tablet or a TV, I can't tell you how to do this on your platform, but it can be done. And I'm going to show you. If we go to, let's go back to my window capture, and let's turn it on Edge, because I'm not signed in on anything on Edge. So here we're at YouTube, right? And we search for one word, Carrie Holzman. There we go. When you click here on my link, this is my channel where you see there's home and videos, playlists, community, all my other channels, which are mostly, they don't get much traction. You can see when I created my account, how many total views I've got. This is all public information you can pull up. But if we go to videos, right? You know, you can search up here. This is searching YouTube. But you can search down here. This search is my channel specifically, and put your keyword in, like Cosmos. So this is when the Cosmos 2 came back for repair, and that was done. And pay attention to how old the videos are you're watching, guys. So look, where's the original Cosmos build? Maybe I should do a reaction video of me reacting to my own videos, then I can file my own copyright claim against myself. Because I want to earn the revenue I'm making. Would have thought it was in here earlier. So much content. I love that shirt. The unicorn puked on me. No. Liquid cooler install, that's a Phantom 410 from NZXT. There I am as a Minecraft character. What the heck? Let me scroll back up. So the Cosmos 2, this is when it came back. And if we click on that, let's mute that. Well, they're going to force me to watch it, and you can't force me to watch that. And then let's go show more, and it says here's the original Cosmos 2 build from November 2013, and this was streamed on January 9th, 2018. So not quite 5 years. And of course, you can just see how little I am there. But this Cosmos 2 is nothing compared to the 1000D. This is child's play. Turn closed captioning on. That should be interesting. When YouTube auto-generates the closed captions, it can be hilarious. Make sure our resolution is in HD. It's at 720. Come on, put it at 1080. Hey, look, no bald spot. Hey, there's a great shot. You ever see that side of me before? You're welcome. And then there's the temperature test. So when it originally came in, because this was the diagnostic, did I run a temperature check on it? Anyway, this is the original video right here. So sometimes when you look at the show notes, I'm always saying, look at the notes. See, it says show more right here. Show more. And then this is all the notes I take that tells you here's all the parts listed out on what this build was comprised of, along with other things I've talked about in the video. Somebody left a Pepsi bottle behind me. And yeah, goodbye, Pepsi. Good times. That's good times. So anyway, there's a lot of content on my channel, lots and lots of content. And we can go back and we can look at, you know, like if you're curious when I'm not live and if you're new or you're kind of wondering what you've missed out on in the past, let's take a look here. Let's go to videos. And then right here it says sort by, and we'll say most popular. So you can say, okay, well, these are probably the ones worth watching. I mean, other people thought so. This has got 4 million, 2.9 million views here, 2.7 million views here. You like my Galaga shirt? Let's go back. We've got 1.7 million here, 1.6 with Subaru Mike showing how to do a Subaru engine, 1.1 million on a hard drive versus solid state, how to make a Windows 10 USB install drive is 1 million. Blue screen of death diagnostic is nearly at 1 million, but that's from 6 years ago, right? So, I mean, it didn't get 1 million overnight. Where's the walk? Oh, I beamed in. They beamed in the wrong direction. How do those people, when they beam in, know which direction to face? This one should have got more views. There's more Subaru Mike here, more Subaru Mike here. This is how professionals do data recovery and the equipment that they use over it. This is Brian Cometa, who owns $300 Data Recovery, and he's got some cool stuff. I was in nerd heaven here. I mean, I don't know what's going on these screens, but it sure does look like it's important, doesn't it? Yeah, he's got some really cool stuff. Come on. That's just one room of his office. He's got like 4 rooms, and they're all just decked out in equipment like this. Showing me how to do hot air soldering. I'd never actually seen anybody do that before. So I was pretty fascinated. Even recovering solid state drives. A lot of people on the internet that don't think it's possible to recover solid state drives. But he was doing a recovery of a Samsung 2.5-inch drive while I was there. So, yeah. Anyway, I hope you'll surf around my channel a bit and maybe find some content you didn't realize was there. There's a lot of people who ask me questions that I've covered time and time again. So usually I'll send them a link to the video going, you know, I've already discussed this 4 years ago, and, you know, here's at least one video where I know I did it. Sometimes I'm not even sure what video it's in, but So I'll scroll one more time through the chat and I think we'll wrap this up. Just looking through the chat, that's all I'm doing here. Does Corsair charge sales tax? Pretty sure by law they don't have a choice. It's pretty rare that I can buy anything anymore without being charged sales tax. It could be eBay, Etsy, even Spotify is now collecting sales tax. They don't want to. Newegg didn't want to. The government is forcing it on them, so don't be mad at them. Have I seen the Leon Lee model that can hold 2 PCs? It looks like a desk. Yeah, I think it's ridiculous. I don't like it at all. I like a lot of Leon Lee's stuff, but I'm not on board with a desk. We've done these desks. It's not new. They were making, meaning other case manufacturers, have been making desks that hold PCs inside. Oh my gosh, it's been more than 10 years. It's not a new idea, so I'm not impressed. Bruno says, I wonder if this motherboard here was returned after Windows Home was activated. It wouldn't make any difference. Whether it was returned, this board, by the way, this was never a returned board. I think you misunderstood. There are returned boards and there are refurbished boards. This is a refurbished board. And I think what happened, I'm going to speculate here, but I think what happened is maybe the arm of Newegg that builds systems ordered a bunch of these from GIGABYTE, these boards, to use in pre-builds that Newegg builds. Maybe ABS builds them, I don't know. And then for some reason, my guess is they weren't making money. So they said, what are we going to do with all these boards? We want to dump this inventory and get it out of here. So price it aggressively and we'll never stock it again. So I'm sure that GIGABYTE is not actively replenishing any inventory of these boards. I think this is leftover stock from the pre-built system side, and this is not intended for resale. Therefore, the minute the manufacturer encoded that product key inside of the BIOS, it was activated. Do you understand? So whether or not someone bought it or returned it is completely irrelevant. Whether it was brand new, it's activated if Windows 10 was installed by the user for the first time or the 100th time. There was no activation. It just activates as soon as you connect it online because of the embedded product key. It's that simple. Think you're overthinking it. Can you get 5 years out of an all-in-one cooler? It varies. There's probably all-in-one coolers that'll last 20 years. It's not likely. When I talk about the lifespan of products, I'm dealing on the scale of a computer repair person and system builder. So I'm not dealing with one all-in-one cooler. I'm dealing with, I don't know, probably more than you. Probably dealing, I'd say maybe what, 1 or 2 a month, right? Over the last 5 years. So that's 12 times 5, and say there's 100 of them out there, you know. And I can tell you from that 100 out there that it seems to be statistically averaging at about 4 to 6 years when they fail. Some fail at 4, some fail at 6, so we kind of average down there around 5. They don't often fail before that, but some still do, and some have never failed. So we average it out. A lot of variables involved. Glenn's Music says, Kerry, what would be the best way for me to provide the details about my networking issue? It's too much to fit in the chat, and I'm keen to learn from your experience. Send it to me in an email. Explain to me what you're trying to do and why, and what systems are you trying to network together. Explain to me what router you have, if you have a switch, are you wired or wireless, all of that. I need all that information. And then perhaps what I can do is do another live video, because I'm not your personal technical support. I want to make sure people understand that I help for free on YouTube. Now, Glenn, you could sign up for My Computer Works, $39 a month, no contract, it's month to month. They'll waive the $65 activation fee. They're located right down the street from where I'm broadcasting from. They've been in business over 16 years. And the people who talk, who answer the phones when you call, their English is accent free, or it's the accent that we speak. So they're not difficult to understand. They're friendly and patient, and they don't read from scripts. Everything they know because they know it. They're actual technicians. And they will set this up for you, and they will answer any questions you have and ask you any questions they need to know. And they'll spend as much time on the phone with you as necessary. And if you then the next day have another question, or the next week you have another question, you just keep calling them as often as you want for that month. And if you're not happy with their service, if they have not met your expectations, if they've not done exactly what I said, you tell them you want your money back. So it's risk-free, and they will prioritize. You won't have to wait on me, and we won't have to worry about the delay, because I'm not going to sit here and answer everybody's technical questions personally. I've got other things going on, but I might make a video out of it. I might read your letter online if I have enough information from you that I can address it so it's helping the world and not just helping you. Because if I'm just helping you, I need to get paid for it. So you understand? So if you want to email me that, I'll see if it's something I can help you with. But if you contact the folks at My Computer Works, I guarantee they will help you. And it's really inexpensive. And furthermore, you'll have them to be able to call. Sorry, I'm just putting this back. You'll be able to call them for the next 30 days with any computer question you have. Whether it's, well, now that I got this working, this is the downside, right? Once you get your networking working, then your next question is going to be the next thing you want to do regarding the network. So I don't want to get involved in something like that will never end. I don't mind giving you a little push and letting you go off on your own. But if you want that kind of support, it's really inexpensive. These guys are really, really good, and there's no risk. And they'll waive the activation fee if you tell them that you're a Kerry Holzman viewer, and they will educate you. They will tutor you. So, Glenn, I honestly think that's the best option for you, assuming you're in the United States. mycomputerworks.com. Do I have a link to My Computer? Just type in My Computer Works. I should add a link to it, but honestly, again, I want to reemphasize what I've already shown you. If we go back to my, did I close the browser? I did. If we go back to, let's go back to YouTube. And this is the thing that's probably the most frustrating thing for me. Because I have all these videos that answer many of your questions in detail, and you guys, I don't know why you can't be bothered to search for them. It's really, really frustrating. So instead of answering your question, I'm going to search it for you. So the way we would do this, I'm not doing this to be snide. I want you to be able to help yourself. You shouldn't have to wait on me for stuff like this. You just go to YouTube and you type in Kerry Holzman, it's one word, and then whatever subject you want to know. So maybe you want to type in technical support. For example, technical support. And then look through my content here and see if there's, let's see, free technical support, answering tech support questions. And you just kind of scroll through and you're like, all right, maybe that's not the right keyword. So how about just Carrie Holzman support? Maybe it's there. Let's take a quick look. Now, I'm doing this to demonstrate to you that if your first keyword doesn't pick it up within a reasonable, don't go page after page after page. If you pick the right keyword, it should come up pretty quickly. So we know, for example, my computer works. You could put it in there. Now here it says technical support, free versus paid, featuring Luke Ford of My Computer Works. So you're going to click on that. You're like, that's what he was talking about, right? And then we scroll down and we look in the show notes. It says technical support. Here's the link. Here's the phone number. Now this phone number is specific to Carrie Holzman viewers. That's our phone number. That's how they know that my video is what led you to them. This link is also specific to me. So if you just go to mycomputerworks.com, they're going to be able to help you, obviously. But if you use my link, when you click on it, they know that that's coming from a Carrie Holzman viewer, even though you don't really see it on the website here. But you can see it up on the link. Computer support, YT is YouTube, CH is Carrie Holzman. And again, that phone number is also right there in the video notes. So many times you can answer your own questions by simply doing, how long did that take me? Now, if I would have searched for Luke Ford, right, I would have got there quicker. So you got to find the right keyword. And then if you fail to find it, then, well, maybe it doesn't exist, or maybe you just can't think of the right keyword. I get that. But it's all there for you. You have to understand, when you look at my channel, what do you think? When we look at how many videos there are, let me go to about. Does it say how many videos I have? Status. There's the links right here for my Amazon, my Twitter. There's the tech support right there for My Computer Works. There's RoboForm, there's Facebook, and there's the Chinese YouTube Bilibili, which I haven't got moving forward yet. But sometimes it would show how many videos, There's somewhere around 1,200, 1,300 videos. So the idea that I'm going to just, sit there and keep repeating the same things over and over again, what's the point of the video, right? And there's so much information out there. I mean, if you never saw this build, for example, you wouldn't know to search for it because you didn't know it was there. So if we look at, just scroll through some of the videos too, you might find some answers to questions you never thought to ask. And then if we can move forward from there, that's great. So you want to see this thing turned on here. Where is it? Thought I turned the lights out when I did that. Anyway, sorry, I just really like this case a lot. I wanted to see it all lit up. Anyway, there's so much information there for you guys. And it's so frustrating to me that I have to spoon feed the links. I'm like, it's been there the whole time. Did you bother to look? So just give it a look. If you look and you can't find it, that's fair. But at least, please, for both of us, look. Don Allen with a $5 contribution says, keep up the good work. Hey, thank you, Don. Thank you for your support. Jason Ryrick says, no, is it Jason? Ron Toomey says, Carrie, just think back in the late 1980s, that motherboard you have on your Lazy Susan right now would have ruled the world. No. No. This powerful computer with a ton of storage and a camera that fits in my pocket would have blown your skull off of your neck. You'd say, what? Like if I showed you this in 1980s and I showed you this in 1980s, which one do you think would impress you more? But I get what you're saying. Couldn't afford either one of them in the 80s, regardless. Patrick Russo says, thank you for so much time you spent on this motherboard. Much respect. You're the man. Hey, Patrick, I can't thank you enough for sending it because obviously when you emailed me and you said, Carrie, how do I get it to offer me Windows Pro? The answer that you were looking for was to do the PID.txt. Now, remember I said I'm not going to do that because there's questionable legality on that. But there are plenty of other YouTube channels that do. So if you just, for example, go to YouTube search, type in PID.txt, there are videos, or just Google it. There are websites that go through that whole process and it'll walk you through that. And that was ultimately, at the end of the day, Patrick, that was the answer you were looking for. But I had no idea to provide that answer to you because I wasn't aware anything like this was sold in the retail chain. Like I said, I don't think it should be. It's probably not supposed to be. And if you knew you were getting a Windows 10 home key that's worth twice the price you paid for this board, I mean, I could foresee buying every one of those to use them as giveaways or to use them as basic computers for people that want to surf the web and answer email and watch videos or stream Netflix, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could even put a nice graphics card on it and a nice power supply and have a nice gaming system. There's no reason it won't do that. It's not the best of anything. It's not the best Wi-Fi, but I don't see another board offering Wi-Fi at this price point, period, from any manufacturer. And certainly none of them should have embedded Windows 10 keys at all. That is for system integrators only, and it violates, I promise you, that violates the terms. So I'm sure Newegg is violating their terms with Gigabyte by selling that board without a computer, you know, without all the other components. It should probably, at a minimum, be required to have RAM, storage, well, maybe not storage, but RAM and a CPU. Yes, a bare bones. So, very strange. And bare bones would mean case, power supply, motherboard, usually, and then the user could put their own CPU, their own RAM, their own storage, depending on how they're defining a bare bones system. So I've never seen this before. I strictly would never have believed it had I not seen it. And I sure as hell wasn't going to order one just to see if you were right, because I got enough things going on. So I really thank you for sending that to me, Patrick. I think it was very interesting from my perspective. As you can tell, I've made 2 videos out of it because I'm sort of fascinated by it. And further, I think it's one hell of a deal. And I think if you know, unless you're one of these people that has to have the best of everything, if you're looking to build a really decent system for the least amount of money, I'd snap one of these up before they're gone. There's no way they're going to stick around that long at that price. That's insanely good price. On the other hand, you know, that Obsidian 1000D is an insanely bad price. Isn't that interesting that Newegg can offer such a good deal on one hand and such a terrible deal on the other? So you can't just trust any one seller to give you the best prices at all times. And we know that, right? I mean, we've been to Costco and seen stuff more expensive at Costco than it is at the grocery store. I often won't buy things at Walgreens or CVS because, or even Circle K, because I know the prices are higher. But they're not always. Sometimes the prices are better. It depends what you're buying. So I figured I should probably turn some of these other cameras on. They've been active this whole time. And I've been on one camera view this whole time because I've been focusing on sharing my screen with you. But that's probably going to wrap it up for me for today. We're at what? 2 hours and 20 minutes. Thanks you guys for hanging out. Let me just take a quick look one more time through the chat room. And like I said, great deal on this board. Great deal. I don't have any affiliate link or commission link with Newegg. Never have, probably never will. I am starting to broadcast on Amazon Live. I hope you guys will check me out at Amazon Live. Amazon.com/shop. You know, like you're going shopping. Then put another /. You know, the / is the one underneath the question mark on your keyboard. And then type my name, Kerry Holzman. One word, just like I showed you on YouTube. Amazon.com/shop / Kerry Holzman. And follow me there. There's a little follow button. Let's try it. Let's try it. Let's go up here and type Amazon.com /shop /Kerry. There's no T in Holzman. It's not Holtzman, it's Holzman. Enter. There it is. You can hit the follow button. This is the video I did the other day. These were the parts I was talking about in that video, so you don't have to search for them. This is all the equipment and tools that I use. If you're curious, what are those scissors he uses? Where did he get those little plastic standoffs? Well, actually, those are from the 90s, but if you wanted to buy one, I got this dual monitor stand. I haven't put it together yet. There's the wireless keyboard and mouse right there. There's my battery charger. There's those little magnet things I've got on my screwdrivers. There's the flashlights you see me pull out. There's the pliers you see me use. These are the GIS screwdrivers. There's my capture cards. That's the modem, the cable modem. There's the flash drives I use. More of the tools I use, screws that I use, batteries that I use, the isopropyl alcohol I use. There's the non-contact temperature reader. There's the Milwaukee screwdriver. There's the Italian wire cutters. There's the Milwaukee box cutter. There's the oil I use. There's the Stream Deck. There's the cables and the card reader and the battery tester. Does any of this look familiar to any of you? You see this stuff on my channel. There's my microphones I use. Well, that's just the transmitter. There's the cameras I use. There's the tripod I use. There's the tripod heads I use. There's the miniature jeweler screwdrivers that I use. There's the adapters for video outputs and battery charger for the cameras and a kilowatt meter to measure the power. And this is how I measure the performance of old computers. These are the boom mics I use when I do like the videos with Subaru Mike. He's not mic'd up, so I have to use a boom. What else do we have in here? Here's a bunch of stuff I want, right? This is the stuff I have. This is the stuff I want. So these are much nicer cameras. A viewer said they were sending me one of these, but I haven't received it yet. There's an 8 terabyte NVMe drive for $1,400. I actually didn't want both of these. I wanted one or the other. So I hope I'll get this, because this looks like it's really cool to be able to do HDMI switching instead of through OBS. And instead of having 4 inputs, I can have 8 inputs. Or it just may be a horrible mistake. I just want to have some experience with it. But yeah, there's an 8 terabyte Sabrent NVMe drive right there. It's only $13.99 plus shipping. I've seen it at $12.99. I've never seen Microsoft Edge do that. Price drop mine. No, it hasn't price dropped. That's about the most it sells for. I've seen it go to $12.99. The one I'm going to use on the if we type in 8 terabyte NVMe, the one I'm going to use, see, like this PNY one is $1,099, but it takes a month to 2. See here, it usually ships within 1 to 2 months. That's not in time. I can't wait that long. This is 4 terabyte. That's too small. So I went with this one, this Inland Platinum. I've never used them before. Are they a part of Micro Center? I should probably Google that. This is only $30 more, right? 1129 versus 1009. It's only $30. Read and write speeds look real good on there. And then Corsair's is even more money. Corsair wants $1449. And I was just kind of clicking on these, looking to see if there were any used or new, but they're still, you know, same price. No deals. Then there's a Mushkin one for that's 8 terabytes for $1149. So that would have been my second choice. A little bit more money, right? Because what was $1129 versus $1149. And I think the read-write numbers speeds on these were slower. 3,400. It looks like they're about the same. About the same. $20 more. They all have the same warranty. And that's it. That's all there is. You see 4 terabytes from Sabrent's expensive. And then we're going to use one of these, and we're going to clone the NVMe drive. Friday with Mitch. I hope this arrives in time. I haven't received it yet. It's just like a hard drive dock, but for NVMe drives, not SATA drives. They've got to be NVMe M.2s, and you should be able to clone them with the push of a button. No software is needed. You don't, or if you want, you can use it, you know, through USB and use it as an external storage device. If you're nuts and you want to overpay for your storage, you could totally do that. But yeah, you can just have this as a standalone NVMe cloner, as long as your source drive, let me rephrase that, as long as your target drive is the same size or larger. That's what that symbol means. If your target is the same size or larger, you just push the button and you wait. So that was $150. You can save an extra $10 if you clip the coupon. And I can't wait to show that to you. I hope you will tune in Friday, 1 o'clock, and join Mitch Morrison and myself as we remove the 2 terabyte drive that we did install, clone it onto the 8 terabyte drive, and then put it back in and see if it boots. Now, I think if it's a 2 terabyte drive, it's going to make the 8 terabyte drive look like it's 2 terabytes, and then it's going to have 6 terabytes of unallocated space. And then I'll show you how we'll go into the control panel without any third-party software and expand that to take up the rest of the unused space. That's super easy, barely an inconvenience. Are you getting excited yet? Maybe? Come on. Am I not entertaining you? Are you not entertained? How about now? Are you entertained yet? Come on! People are hard to please. Tough crowd. John Kennedy said, did we load Windows 10 on this motherboard? Yes, I did, and I updated it, and I didn't have to do anything. It shows it's activated. Once Windows Updates did its first round of updates, it also automatically in the background acknowledges with Windows activation servers that it's all authorized. I didn't have to do anything. And when I check activation settings, it says it's activated Windows 10 Home. It's happy, no problems. Nothing special. It installs no differently than any other build I've ever done. It just doesn't give me an option of what Windows 10 version to install. And if I want to force Windows 10 Pro to install on it, you got to create the pid.txt file with your product key for Windows 10 Pro, and then it will install Windows 10 Pro by default. No big deal. Or you could just upgrade it. But I would hate to install 10 and then upgrade it to Pro. That's kind of, that's when your time is worth nothing, you know. I'd rather spend the extra couple bucks, get Pro right out the gate if I need it, than to save a few dollars to buy Home and then spend my time upgrading. What a pain. I don't have that kind of time. Some people waste money and some people waste time. I wish I was wealthy enough to waste them both. Mortmont says, I'm thinking about buying that router. I've got my eyes on a router. You want to see the one I'm thinking of buying? You know, this could be a bad recommendation. I'm just warning you, I've not had hands-on with it, but I need another router in here. And what I'm thinking, let's go back to, did I close? I didn't. Let me go back to my window capture. I'm thinking of Wi-Fi 6 TP-Link. This one right here. Or is it this one? Yeah. Yeah, this is a refurbished or renewed router. What I like about it is it's got 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gigabit Ethernet ports on the back. And this is the AX11000 tri-band Wi-Fi 6 router from TP-Link, and I've had some really good luck with TP-Link stuff. I've got one of these now, this Netgear Nighthawk, and it's good. I like it, but it doesn't have 8 ports in the back. It's only, got your standard 4. But that's what I'm running over here right now. So maybe in a month or two, I'll pick this up and do a review on it. And I'll probably do that on Amazon Live for obvious reasons. So be sure to follow me on Amazon Live so that you can watch and participate in that chat room, because I will be doing exclusive content there. Just like I'm doing this content here, this is not on Amazon Live. And then I'll be doing other content in the future where it'll be simulcast on both. So there's going to be a little bit of everything, lots to look forward to. And I hope I will see some recognizable names there at the Amazon Live chat room. I hope you'll join me there, because it won't be the same without you. Selden says, can you verify the size of the 8 terabyte drive without actually writing 8 terabytes to it? Well, obviously, you would have to write, like when I do flash drive testing, you have to fill up the flash drive. So those fake flash drives that say they're 128 gigs, they work until you hit their actual size, which is like 16 gigs, and then it just fails all the way. The inland 8 terabyte drive is going to be 8 terabyte. I don't know what you're thinking. I've got that drive over here. I don't know why in the world would you think that an 8 terabyte drive sold by a major manufacturer would not be a real 8 terabyte drive? I mean, I'm kind of curious where that skepticism comes from. If, for example, I was buying this from AliExpress, if it was shipping from China, if it's a name I've never heard of before, I would be concerned. But I did read the reviews, and I did do a little searching. I didn't just buy it blindly. Now, I've only used a couple of things from Inland in the past, and I was going to wiki them and see who they are. Inland, NVMe, just doing a wiki, see, list of solid state drive manufacturers. Trim command, it's probably something about Inland Professional. Let's just do an Inland Professional wiki. That's what I'll search for, professional wiki. I'm only kind of curious with their Inland Productions, a video game. Micro Center, here. Let's do this. Micro Center is an American computer retail store. Let's search for the word inland so I can just jump to wherever that's referenced. Apparently it's not referenced at all, so why did Google present that to me? I don't know. Inland Productions, Inland Professional. Why don't we just go to their website? What if I just did that? Make life a little little easier on me. www.ipsgproducts.com. Let's do that. www.ipsgproducts.com. International Product Sourcing Group. Interesting. Let's click on products. They got a ton of things. They got computers, peripherals, supplies, displays, electronics, computer parts. This isn't what I was expecting. However, I'm still not concerned. Because I bought it from Amazon, I have Amazon's return policy. If I'm being overly optimistic, I would be quite shocked that this would be anything less than what it claims to be. Carrie, you never mentioned PNY drives. Do you think they're reliable? I think they're all pretty much it's not a question of reliability anymore. They're all pretty much made the same. They're not generally making their own controller. Samsung makes their own controller, but everybody else is sourcing all the same parts. They're just putting it together. That's all they're doing. So they're all as reliable. However, their customer service may not all be the same. You know, there's no product that's made that never fails. It just doesn't exist. It's not a question of how reliable is it. It's never that question. The question is, if I have a problem, what kind of customer service am I going to get? That's the thing you should be concerned about. So I've never had to reach out to PNY, but I've got a few other flash drives, and I've had PNY products over the years. They don't tend to be the leader when it comes to space or performance, but they tend to offer pretty good value. And that's about all I know about them. But they're a name brand. It's not like I'm buying again from some unknown, unfamiliar brand out of China. They're a known brand. And I've never had to reach out to their customer service because I've never had anything that I owned from PNY break. So I haven't owned that much, you know. So I have very limited experience with them. Selden says there's been quite a few counterfeit computer devices. Well, again, if you're worried about counterfeit, you got to consider who you're buying from. So there's eBay, for example, is home to a lot of that. AliExpress is home to a lot of that. And well, Amazon can allow any third-party marketplace sellers, some of which may be scammers. The vast majority are not, and they don't last very long. And there's typically reviews warning you, right? So again, if I go back to Amazon and I search for the 8 terabyte NVMe drives again, and let me just pull this up again because I think you guys aren't paying attention. If I don't point it out, I guess I have to point everything out. So let me point it out. That's the ipsgproducts.com page. But let's go back to Amazon real quick here. I want to show you something that's been there the whole time. And again, something you can easily do on your own. You don't need me to do this for you. But we'd go to 8 terabyte NVMe and look at this. Look at this. There's 810 reviews on this PNY drive. Scroll down. There's 16,573 reviews on this 4 terabyte Sabrent. Okay. Look at this inland. There are 1,200 reviews on this inland drive, averaging 4.5 stars. There's no way they have 1,200 fake reviews. They wouldn't be around. Amazon would have shut this page down by now. The Mushkin Alpha only has 8 reviews, same rating. So that risk and that concern that you have, again, here's the Corsair, that's the most expensive one. You know, 8,309 reviews with a 5-star average. And I always want to see at least one one-star review because you know the crazy people are out there. If it's nothing but 5-star reviews, I get suspicious that maybe those reviews aren't real. By the way, an 8 terabyte 2.5-inch drive, much, much cheaper. much cheaper. In fact, we can get it cheaper than that. We want to look at an 8 terabyte SATA. Check this out. 8 terabyte SATA. Am I on the right link? Am I bringing it up? Yeah. 8 terabyte SATA SSD. 749. That's 4 terabytes. 4 terabytes. There's got to be some more. That's 8 terabytes. A little more money. I think we can find it cheaper. Just keep looking. 8 terabytes. 4, 2. It's mechanical. There's a 8 terabyte external SSD. Woo! What a waste of money, because you can't transfer data through USB as fast as that drive could potentially write. But it would be very, very robust in the sense it's not as fragile as a mechanical drive. But we should be able to find 8 terabyte SATA SSD. Let's type in 2.5 just to see if it helps. We sorted by price. Let's go the other way around. Sometimes it's best to go high to low, because then you don't have to go through 20 pages. The first page should get us through there. 900s. That's an advertisement. That one price that was, like $30. It's obviously an advertisement. 8 terabytes for $750. I think I've seen them for $600, but it's going to be limited to 550 megabytes per second. So anyway, significantly less money, but also significantly slower. So I probably could have paid 2/3 the price and got 1/4 the speed. And just so you know, I'm not worried. You still worried? You need to be worried. It's real. Get 3 hours yet? Costco has that router for $299 and it's not renewed. It's the same router. Let me take a quick look. Costco. You know those speakers that I was showing were $79? They were $69 at Costco. It got cheaper. All right, what was I doing? Going to Costco, and it's a TP-Link. What was the model? So TP-Link has a couple that are similar. I think it's the AX11000. Member only item. I have to sign in to see the price. It's got pretty good reviews. Okay, well, I can't sign in to see the price, but I'll take your word for it. I'll look it up later. I still, look, Costco also has real simple returns, but I want to tell you, I was at Costco this last weekend, and there was a line going out the door for the returns. So I still, if it's the same price buying it from Amazon as it is Costco, and I could go to Costco, pick it up, and come right back, I'd still rather order it from Amazon, because the lines, right? This is not a router you're going to more than likely be able to pull off the shelf. It may not even be a router they stock in the store. I would have to go online, order it from Costco.com, and have it shipped to me. If I don't like it, I suppose maybe you ship it back or you take it to the store. I don't know. I'd rather buy it from Amazon because I'm familiar with the shipping time and return process. And the difference between it being renewed or brand new doesn't, as long as I'm not paying more for the renewed one. But I appreciate you bringing that to my attention. I didn't even think to look, to be honest. Kendon says, did you get the BIOS to update? You got to go watch the video, man. Just watch the video. It's not hard. You just click the mouse. You know the answers in yesterday's video. Okay, well, I think that's going to wrap it up for today. We've been on, how long now? 2 hours and 45 minutes. Matt Powers contributed $5. Says, I've watched your last video on replay. It's a cool show, and I will follow you on Amazon. Thanks, Matt. What are you waiting for? Do it now before you forget. Barry wants to know if I have any more Subaru videos coming. Yeah, I started the video editing process of an engine teardown where it was a new motor that still had the engine break-in oil in it and was never changed, and the engine seized up. Or I didn't seize up, it had a knocking sound, I think is what the customer said. But I've got 2 different cameras and neither one has good audio, so I have to blend the audio and it sometimes starts to go out of sync and it gets kind of the weird echo. It's a real pain in the butt to edit it because what I'm trying to do is I'm picking the good shots from camera 1 and the good shots from camera 2, but at the same time I'm combining the audio, and this means that the edit is a mess because normally you pick the audio from one camera source, but I wasn't happy with the audio from either camera source. But when I layered them on top of each other, suddenly the audio was good. But that means if I cut a minute off of this video, then the second video's audio goes out by a minute. And now the lips and the words are nowhere near close. So anything I cut on video 1, I have to cut the exact same thing from video 2, or I lose my synchronization. This is a very, very painful process. And as a result, the half an hour video, was it a half an hour that I posted, is 1/3 of that video. And that took me months. Well, not literally. I spend a couple hours on it once or twice a month, and then the next month and the next month. And I got a half an hour done. Now I've got to go through the rest of it. And it's there. It's been filmed. It was filmed over a year ago. But yeah, I've got to get that done before I do anything else with Subaru Mike. I just don't have any more room on the plate to pile on any more content until I finish what I started. But as time permits, I'm helping my business clients. I was on a support call with one of my big clients for 3 hours today. Then I'm making a YouTube live. Then I'm going to do an Amazon live. And then I still have these systems to finish up that I'm giving away to my generous contributors. I also I have to get the pool done. I had to do that myself. I have to cut a tree down. I can't find anybody who wants to work, so I had to go buy a chainsaw, and I've been slowly cutting down this dead tree branch by branch. And then I have to cut those pieces into smaller pieces so it can go in the garbage can because there's no bulk trash pickup here at Studio B. So I have to cut and cut and cut and cut and cut. And then I have to go cut videos. Somewhere in there I probably need to eat. It's a little busy. The answer to your question is yes. Yesterday's tomatoes with $1.99. He says, entertaining and well worth the $1.99. That may be the best compliment I've got all day. You're worth $1.99. Thank you for the support. I do appreciate it. It all adds up, my friend. It all adds up. If every viewer today, 359 viewers, gave me $1.99 today, that'd be a pretty good day's income. And YouTube takes 30% of anything you give in Super Chat to any YouTube content creator. If you send me $100 with YouTube Super Chat, YouTube takes 70% of it. And because I'm self-employed, the government wants 30% of that. So what I'm left with, well, you can do the math. If you contribute via PayPal, PayPal takes 3%. If you buy an Amazon gift card and send it to me, I get 100% of it. And I'm all probably going to spend it at Amazon anyway. So, but look, any sort of contribution, I appreciate it. But if you want more of your money to come to me and less of it to go to YouTube, don't use Super Chat unless you just want me to shout your name out. PC Mobile More contributes $5. He says, I love the Amazon warehouse video. I bought a brand new Strix Z490 from the warehouse for $183 instead of the new price of $400 for the regular price. I'm telling you, man, it's the best secret. The best secret is knowing to look for those warehouse deals. So glad I'm saving you guys money. That makes me feel good. Lee says, Amazon, Carrie Holzman following, just got here. Hey, Lee, let's turn you blue in here. Thank you for following me on Amazon. Wouldn't a tree shredder be more cost and time efficient? Man, I'm not a lumberjack. I'm not a plumber. But, you know, thank goodness I grew up in the 80s where we couldn't afford anything. And if I wanted something done, you had to do it yourself. I can't find a pool guy that wants to work. I can't find a landscaper that wants to work. They say they're going to do it, and they never show up. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to get notices from the city here. Buying a chainsaw is $100. So buy a chainsaw. That's all Ryobi, so it all uses the same battery. Speaking of batteries, let me wrap this video up with something a little off topic. Maybe something you're familiar with, maybe not. But ever since I saw YouTube videos, I was thinking about the 1980s and how unreliable our cars were. Did you know? Can I go to that camera? Did you know that you can jumpstart your car? With this? There's a lithium-ion battery. It's got a flashlight on it. You can charge your cell phone on it. And you can jumpstart your car 15 or 20 times with one charge. One charge will start most engines more than a dozen times. In this little kit, just think, forget about jumper cables, forget about hoping for a kind stranger to stop and help you. You take this here and you plug it in over here. Where does it go? Engine start. Is it underneath this? Yeah. This only goes in one way. Red goes to positive, black goes. I know this seems hard to believe. You're like, there's no way this jump starts a car. Batteries ain't like they used to be in the 1980s. This thing, I charged it up over a month ago. I'm still at 100% charge on it. I haven't used it, but it hasn't. It's even got a compass on top. If I get lost, I can use the compass. I probably have to explain to kids today what a compass is and what it means. It's got a power button. You turn the power on, and you can use this just as a cell phone charger. Like if you're on a trip and you need to charge your phone, and then it'll tell you if you put the positive and the negative cable on backwards, you got the polarity reversed, it'll alert you and it won't work. Some of these will even flip it back electronically. So even if you were to, on some of these, I'm not sure which ones do it, but on some of them, they know you put the negative on the positive and the positive on the negative, and then they correct it for you in the circuit, and then it still works. Is that insane? I think it's insane. So how much are they? Well, this one's made by Tac Life, and I bought it off of Amazon, and Mitch said, hey, that's pretty cool. I said, all right, you can have it. It may not be exactly how it went down, but then I had to buy another one. Long story short. And if we go back to, let's go back to my main camera here. Let's go look over at Amazon again. Let's go to, okay, this link. And window capture, and let's type in Tac Life. You see how I search for stuff? Tac Life jump starter. $63.99. That's a great deal. 6,000 reviews, almost 6,100 reviews, 4.5 stars. $22,000 milliamp hours of power. Will jumpstart up to an 8-liter car or 8-liter diesel, petrol or diesel. 12-volt car battery, booster pack, USB quick charge, or it comes with a wall adapter so you can plug it into your house outlet to charge it faster. And like I said, it holds a charge a long, long time. So if you just keep it in your car with you for an emergency, it's and search YouTube videos for car guys that have shown these portable jump starters, if you don't believe me. Because I'm a car guy hobbyist, but I'm not a car guy mechanic. And there's some brilliant car mechanics out here on YouTube that'll demonstrate, because there's all different manufacturers of these. How cool is that, right? I mean, I just think that's, growing up in the 80s, and I always had these big jumper cables, man. I was at a gas station, it was probably about 2 years ago, and these people came up to me and they said, "Hey, do you have any jumper cables?" And I was in a hurry, I didn't have time, and I didn't have any jumper cables. I was like, no, I can't help you. But I thought, don't talk to me. But this would have been no big deal to take this, because I wouldn't mind helping somebody jumpstart their car. It wouldn't cost me anything. But the thing that sucks the most about jumper cables is having to coil them back up and stick them back in a little bag, right? Because they're like 6 feet long, and you got to park your cars nose to nose a lot of times. So this, you don't need another car. You can jumpstart yourself. Hey, I think I got a title for a video review. Jumpstart yourself. Go jump yourself. Yeah, go jump yourself. Anyway, if you didn't know these existed, now you know. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I appreciate your friendship. I appreciate your kindness. I appreciate your support. And I just think we have this great, amazing community here, and I'm so glad that you're a part of it. I like to see this grow and grow and grow. I hope you will join me on my next Amazon live video, and you'll be made, if you're following me, you should get an alert when I go live there. Those videos will only be live, and then after they air live, there'll be a history of my videos that you can watch that you've missed. So right now I have one video on Amazon. So it begins. In a perfect world, I will alternate days. One video for YouTube, one for Amazon. One for YouTube, one for Amazon. And whichever one pays me more will be the one that I'm going to do more and more, and the other one less and less. But I'm never going to give either one up. And it's nice to have a fallback, because the last time YouTube pulled the rug out from under me, I was quite upset. So you need to know, if anything happens to this channel here, go to the channel there, because that's where you're going to get all your information. And the vice versa is true. The only way I have to communicate with you if the platform goes down is a secondary platform. So Amazon is now my secondary platform officially. Because I tried out all those other ones you guys recommended, Odyssey, and I don't know. Just none of those are working out. And I still have a presence there, but I don't have many of you over there. You understand what I'm saying? So if anything should happen here on YouTube where my channel becomes unavailable for any reason, you jump over to my Amazon Live, and that's where you're going to get the information on what's going on. And if anything happens to my Amazon Live channel, then the reverse is true. I'll be here to tell you what's going on with that. There's no other way for me to talk to you, to most of you. Some of you know me well enough that you have my personal information, that you can reach out to me, but the vast majority would have no idea how to find me or what happened. This is how you're going to know. So Rumble, yeah, I'm on Rumble too. So anyway, yeah, I just don't get very many viewers over at Odyssey or Rumble or none of that. So I am there, but the number of viewers I got is teeny tiny. So it's not a good backup platform. If you guys aren't watching me there, then you don't know I'm there. So now you know. Amazon Live, YouTube. YouTube is my primary, Amazon is my secondary, and be aware that that might flip the other way. Amazon may become my primary and YouTube may become my secondary. Okay? Just so you know. We'll see how it goes in time. So in the meantime, I appreciate you guys so much for hanging out with me. Who was it? Yesterday's Tomato says you won't get near the same number of viewers on Amazon Live. I don't need to. If Amazon Live is generating more revenue for me with fewer viewers, you're making an assumption that more viewers is better. More viewers isn't always better. I'm not interested in having the platform with the most viewers. I'm interested in having the platform that enables me enough revenue to do this full time that I can pay my electric bill and I can focus on making more content, right? So if, for example, at the end of today, if this video earned me through viewer contributions, let's say $150, that's okay. You know, it's not bad for a day's work, right? On the other hand, if by going on Amazon Live, I get 1/10 the number of viewers, but the commissions from the sales results in earning $1,000 in commissions or $500 or anything over $150 like today. And let's say I do that in an hour of a video instead of a 3-hour video, that's better, isn't it? So and for that reason, don't make assumptions that more viewers is better. If Rumble was paying me or if Odyssey was paying me, I wouldn't worry so much that the numbers are so low. But the fact is they're not paying me and the numbers are low. Those two things together aren't going to work. So I much rather have a whole bunch of viewers with this much revenue or this many viewers with this much revenue. Either way, I'm okay with it. And that's why I'm going to do both. But please don't make the assumption that one is better than the other. Yes, I'm on Twitch as well, and I don't make a penny. I've never made a penny from Twitch. All I do is spend money to broadcast on Twitch. I had an hour-long conversation with a representative from Twitch asking me to make more videos on Twitch, and I said, give me some money. And he said, well, you'll earn it in time. I said, well, you've been making money off every video I posted. The only one not making money is me. So I understand why you're calling me and asking me to make more, because there's money in it for you. But you're not paying me. You're telling me if I keep doing it, I'll eventually get to a certain view number and then I can, you know, qualify to make a pittance of amount of money. I'm like, give me an advance. Who's paying for me to broadcast on your platform that's costing me money? I can't broadcast and help my customers at the same time. One of those things makes me money and the other one doesn't. And I have to eat. I have to pay the electric bill. I got to pay the rent. I got to pay the cell phone and the internet. And I got to pay for all this broadcast equipment. So as far as I can tell, Twitch has made money from me, regardless of how much it is. They've not shared it, not 1 cent with me, and had the guts to call me and say, could you make more videos for us? Hey, you want to come work for me for free so I can profit off of you? That would be great. I'm getting real sick and tired of it. So it's my fault for allowing it to happen. I'm not allowing that to happen anymore. I have value. And if people don't want to agree to my value, then we'll go separate ways. That's all it is. I'm not going to sit here and convince somebody of my value. And well, they're profiting from me and not sharing that profit. And when I mention it, I go, well, finance it until I start making money. If you're so positive I'm going to make money on Twitch, finance me until I get there. Oh, we don't do that. Okay, well, I don't do what you want me to do, which is work for free under some empty promise that this might happen someday with no written guarantees. But you're still going to get paid for every video I do, and that is guaranteed. How? I mean, that's just completely offensive. So I'm not a real big fan of Twitch, and I'm not a real big fan that they reached out like they were offering me something. They were offering me the opportunity to work for free. Well, they profited. Now, if they were not profiting from it, I wouldn't be so upset. But they're making money from my videos and they're not sharing it with me. So, okay, I told the guy, I said, look, I've made all these videos, I've put this many hours into it, and it still hasn't happened. That's enough. I'm not willing to invest anymore. You need to give me something back now. No, you just got to keep going. I said, no, I don't. I'll keep going somewhere else. However, with StreamYard, and I love StreamYard, I will be able to simulcast my videos on Twitch, on Amazon, on Facebook, and on YouTube, all the same. Now, if it's not costing me any more to broadcast on Twitch and all I have to do is click a button and it's a video I'm making anyway, I got no problem with that, I'm sure. But to do something specifically for Twitch so they can earn money from it and not share anything with me, video after video after video, week after week, month after month, and they keep dangling a carrot, just a little bit more, just a little bit more. So no, Twitch is not in high regard. I'm treating Twitch the way Twitch is treating me. If you're there and it's not out of my way and I'm not doing anything special for you, then I'll do it. But if I have to do anything out of my way, forget it. So you get what you give. But I do have the Twitch channel. I have a Rumble channel. I have an Odyssey channel. I'm on so many different library. I'm on LBRY. I'm on, there's so many platforms, but none of those platforms are moving. So these are the two main platforms now. Two official main platforms, Amazon Live and YouTube. So I appreciate it if you follow me over there. Be good to see you over there. And with fewer viewers comes more interaction with the chat, right? Because we have, 330 viewers right now. I don't know how many are in the chat, but I can't talk to all of you. You go to Amazon and I have, let's say, 12 or 20 viewers. It's much easier to actually talk to all 12 or 20 of you. So I got no problem with that. That's fine. I kind of prefer it. In fact, I was debating whether or not I wanted to even tell my YouTube audience about my Amazon audience, just to start over again and see what I was capable of, you know. Then I thought about it, and well, that's not really a nice thing to do. I mean, the reason I wanted to do it was just challenge myself. But then I thought about it, and so that's kind of stupid because a lot of YouTube viewers aren't going to go there anyway. So doesn't hurt to just shout it out there. And Matthew's provided a link to the Amazon Live channel. Thank you, though. Thank you so much for being a viewer. Thanks for being a part of the community. Thanks for all the contributions today from everybody. Again, YouTube is still not showing me the viewer activity is completely empty, which is really bothering me. But I hopefully caught everybody's contribution and gave you a shout out at the time. For all my friends in blue, thank you for helping keep it civil. It was a little rocky earlier. And for everybody who's not yet blue, please just keep participating in the chat. Be nice. You don't have to contribute to be turned blue. You just have to sort of become a recognizable name to me. And then I recognize your name with kindness. I go, oh, why isn't that person blue yet? I've turned several people blue today. I want my entire chat room to be blue. But unfortunately, no matter how much I want that, some people are just dead set to be a jerk. They think they're outsmarting me. I don't know what the prize is. And that's not a high bar. It's pretty easy to outsmart me. It's a pretty low bar to set for yourself. It's funny because it's true. I will see you all again very, very soon. Until then, bye for now.